Hello, welcome to the Fanfic Majesty. 10 Op Hus. Chapter 181. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. It was embarrassing. Mu Feng, who came out of the windmill village by boat, thought for a while, and the East China Sea didn't have a place where he wanted to stroll, and he was going to return to naval headquarters. Then, embarrassed, Mu Feng found out that he was lost. But Mu Feng, who was not in a hurry, let the boat float. Then, he came to the sea restaurant Bharati. Not to mention, the food here is really good. Not inferior to naval headquarters high-end restaurant exclusively for general officers. While Mu Feng was eating with relish, Hepodi got involved in this matter. It simply affects the mood of eating. How could Mu Feng not be angry? White. Her Baldy's face was horrified. The word, white, was spoken for a long time, but Herbadi could not say another word. Shut up. Mu Feng said lightly. Her Baldy shut up immediately, and didn't dare to say any more. Standing straight, standing in front of Mu Feng trembling. As the captain of naval headquarters, how could her Baldy not know Mu Feng, even if Mu Feng did not wear the Marine Admiral uniform? Advertisement. At this time, Herbertie's face was pale, and she really wanted to give herself 2 big slaps. Why didn't I notice that Admiral the White Bear was here? If you can find out Mu Feng's existence sooner, then give Herbertie 10 courage. He didn't dare to be so arrogant. My behavior just now completely discredited Marine. Will Admiral the White Bear throw himself into the great undersea prison in a fit of anger? The more I think about it, the more desperate Hepodi feels, the cold sweat flows. Although desperate, her Baldy didn't have any thoughts of running away or resisting. There was no reason for him, but the strongest white bear in the world was in front of him. But before Mu Feng could speak, Sanji on the side suddenly said coldly, "Just remove the bug, can the soup be drunk? Do you know that you are wasting food? On the sea, absolutely. It's a waste of food. I don't care if you are Marine. Shut up for me, too." Mu Feng glanced at Sanji. It didn't use the slightest strength, or conqueror's hockey. Sanji, who was oppressive with just a look, couldn't even speak. Anyway, Hepodi is also a Marine. In front of me, you can't tolerate a little guy to teach Marine. Mu Feng said lightly. Then he looked at her Bodhi, and continued, "Go pick up the food on the ground and eat it. Then roll me back to naval headquarters and demote to 3rd-class soldier. If something like this happens again, go directly to the great undersea prison." Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Hearing Mu Feng's words, Hebodi was almost pardoned. Just being demoted to a 3rd-class soldier, and even Marine was not expelled, which was better than the best result Hepodi envisioned. Her Baldy honestly picked up the food on the ground and put it into his mouth. There was silence around him. Everyone looked at Mu Feng very curiously. In 3 years, although Mu Feng's appearance has not changed much, it has become more mature, and in 3 years, Mu Feng has not made any major changes. So if it is not for Mu Feng's special attention, it is difficult to recognize him. At this moment, the door of the restaurant was suddenly opened. It was a Marine who hurriedly ran in and shouted, "Captain! Captain Hepodili!" Advertisement. Herbadi did not dare to speak, but looked at Mu Feng, who was aside. Mu Feng shrugged and said, "Don't look at me, I just came to eat. In addition, you have not formally dismissed, and you are still a captain. You can figure it out by yourself. Not bad. You are 7 mature steaks, better than naval the headquarters or even more delicious." With that, Mu Feng raised the fork with the steak in his hand towards Sanji. What a noisy shop. At this moment, Luffy walked out from the side. However, some sloppy Luffy obviously did not notice that Mu Feng was there. "Yes. I'm sorry. That person escaped from the confinement room. The pirate Crick's men escaped. He is the 7 of us, following the trail of Crick's gang, and finally caught him. Arrived." Marine's face was full of horror. "Impossible. He can't have the strength to escape. He was already hungry and half dead when he was captured 3 days ago. And in these few days, we didn't give him anything. Eat." Hepodi obviously couldn't believe it. Crick's group. Isn't that the strongest pirate group in the East China Sea? Hearing the 3 words Crick, the diners around were all desperate. After the reaction came, it was a rush to escape. In the East China Sea, Crick was definitely the most brutal pirate. Suddenly, this Marine was kicked into the air, and a figure walked in. "Here is a guest." This is Barati's other sous chef, Patty. Advertisement. Huh. It's not the guy who came to my store to make trouble again. Zapoo. The noise made just now is really not small, and the people of Barati gathered in the restaurant. Luffy, Zoro, Nami, Usopp. Straw Hat Crew is also here. The figure dangled and sat on a chair, and then put one leg on the table. He looked at everyone and said, "This is a Western restaurant. Give me food. Anything will do." This guy is the cadre of the Crick pirates who was captured by her Bodhi, Akin. Welcome, idiot. Patty rubbed his hands and walked to Ah Jin. He turned out to be a bastard, and was taken in by Zepp in Barati like Sanji. I said the last time. I'm a customer. Hurry up and bring food over. Akin glanced weakly at Patty, and said impatiently. That chef will be killed, Hepodi murmured. I'm very sorry, idiot. Did you bring the money? Patty asked with a smile on his face. Unexpectedly, Ah Jin directly took out a pistol and hit Patty's forehead and asked, I have no money, can I replace it with bullets? The tone was very arrogant. But who knows that in the next moment, Ah Jin was directly rammed on the top of his head by Patty's fists. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertisement. Chapter 182. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Then Patty ignored Ah Jin's pleading and threw him out. Patty has no less love for Barati than Sanji. Naturally, he would not give Akin any food to a pirate who might threaten Barati, and he would be merciful if he didn't kill him. And when Patty threw Ajin out, no one noticed. Sanji suddenly walked towards the back kitchen without a word. No one knew what he was going to do. But Mu Feng knew. Sanji was going to cook for Ajin. It's still the original plot, but Mu Feng didn't want to change it. 2 days later, Barati suddenly became highly alert. Between the two ribs of the skull is an hourglass that intimidates the enemy. It's the pirate regiment of Admiral Crick. There is absolutely nothing wrong. The most ferocious pirate in the East China Sea, Pirate Admiral Crick. Look, Patty. They're really here, there's nothing wrong with it, it's their ship. You will drive them all away, you said. Advertisement. Yes. Have you made a mistake? Patty was holding his head, his face panicked, obviously a little confused. That ship looks a little strange. Jeep frowned as he looked at the pirate ship of the 870 Creek pirates in the distance, and murmured. Tattered. Can damage that kind of giant ship to such a degree. It is absolutely impossible to do it by manpower alone. It should be some natural disaster. Sanji said proudly, smoking a cigarette, and said to the side. Zapoo just glanced at Sanji. Boy. You should go to sea. This world is bigger than you think. The powerhouses that Grand Line can do. There are countless. Pirates. That guy with a straw hat boy, it's a good choice. At this moment, Ah Jin helped a burly guy into the restaurant. This guy was the cruelest pirate in the East China Sea, the pirate Admiral Crick. Excuse me, can you give me some water and food? I have money, and I will give it to you no matter how much. Crick said weakly. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. What? Without a bit of majesty and courage, is he really Crick? He looks really hungry, Luffy said. Suddenly, a flower hit Crick's eyes and hit the ground directly. Akin was shocked. What's wrong with you, Chief Crick? Please give us some food. Ahahahaha. It's so funny. It's so funny. Is this the glorious image of the infamous Chief Crick? Patty laughed arrogantly. Advertisement. This time we brought money. We are guests. Ajin said loudly. Get in touch with Marine, he is so weak now. It's a golden opportunity for the government. You don't need to feed him anything, grab them quickly. Hey, we can get a lot the bounty, Patty said loudly. Yes, if he is allowed to recover, no one knows what he will do. He does a lot of evil on weekdays, so he should be starved to death like this. He's damned, who made him do evil? If Crick is allowed to regain his strength, he will definitely attack Barati. Therefore, even a drop of water can't be given to him. The diners and chefs of the sea restaurant all said indignantly. I don't do anything. I promise you that if you give me something to eat, I will go back obediently. Please, save me. I beg you. It doesn't matter if you have leftovers. Give me something to eat. Crick pleaded. Chief Crick, BFCI. Don't do this. Don't beg them like this. You shouldn't do this. Don't be so embarrassed. Ajin shouted. Mu Feng on the side looked at Crick. He could understand that when he first appeared in Pirate World, he tried to feel hungry, and it was definitely more tormenting than any punishment. In Bharati, there are people who understand hunger better than Mu Feng. Huh, do you want to win sympathy? Patty was completely unmoved. Hey, Patty, get out of me. Suddenly a voice sounded. Advertisement. Then before Patty hadn't reacted, suddenly a black-toed leather shoe kicked him in the face and kicked him out. It's Sanji, holding a plate of steaming fried rice. Looking to the side of Ajin, he said, Ajin, take this fried rice to that guy. Then he handed the fried rice in his hand to Ajin. Thanks, thank you, Mr. Sanji. Ajin was taken aback. He was overjoyed and quickly took the fried rice that Sanji handed over, and then handed it to Crick, who was lying on the ground. He didn't even use a spoon, and Crick directly stuffed the rice into his mouth with his hands. Hey, Sanji, get those meals back soon. You kid, don't you know who he is? He is the overlord of the East Sea, Crick, who hurt people with a dark arrow. The first escaped from prison and then he became Marine, killed the chief on the Marine ship. Then he seized the ship and ran away and became a pirate ever since. Sometimes the Marine flag will be hung into the port, and then openly attacked villages and civilian ships, and sometimes the white flag of surrender will be hung, pretending to surrender and then sneak attack the enemy. In order to win the battle, he can do nothing, so he can become today's big pirate. This man is not in vain. It is absolutely impossible to go back obediently after eating. To such a villain, not saving him is to save the world. Quote. An older chef pointed at Sanji and roared loudly. I know, Sanji said lightly. After a pause, he continued. But sorry, as a chef, I can't see anyone hungry in front of me. That is, when Sanji was speaking, Crick was full and regained his strength. Suddenly, facing Sanji, Crick broke out into trouble. The steel arm was hooped around Sanji's neck and hit Sanji directly into the air, falling heavily to the ground. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertisement. Chapter 183. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Chief Crick, you promised to take the first shot at this house, so I brought you here. What's more, that person is our savior. Seeing Crick shot Sanji, everyone was stunned, and Ajin roared even more. Ha ha ha. It's delicious, I feel alive again. Crick laughed, and then stuck Ajin's neck directly, and then threw Ajin aside. This ship, I want it. Crick, very arrogant declaration. See it. This is Crick. He wants to take Bharati from us. It's all because of you, Sanji, Patty roared. Chief Crick, what about your promise? Akin cried bitterly. My boat is already in ruin, and I want a new boat. If you are done, get out of the boat as soon as possible. In addition, there are about 100 people alive on my boat. They are all seriously injured, their stomachs they are all broken too. They need 100 portions of water and food. You hurry up and prepare them for me. Crick shouted. You want us to prepare food for our enemies? I refuse. A Bharati chef retorted Crick directly. This is an order. No one is allowed to disobey me. Crick said solemnly. Mr. Sanji, I'm sorry. I didn't expect it to be like this. Akin lay on the ground, crying with his headache, obviously very regretful. You bastard. Doing such an unforgivable thing. Hey, Sanji, where are you going? Patty wanted to scold Sanji, but found Sanji turned and walked aside. Advertisement. Sanji flicked the cigarette butt away and glanced at Patty. Faintly said. Go to the kitchen, you have to prepare food for 100 people. What? Hearing Sanji's words, all the chefs in Bharati were furious. Mr. Sanji. Akin looked at Sanji with a look of consternation. Yes, hee. That's right. Crick showed a smile on his face. In his opinion, Sanji meant surrendering to him, and his reputation threatened him. However, the chefs of Bharati did not allow Sanji to act like this. Chi took out his pistol and pointed it at Sanji's head, saying badly at each other. Sanji, I think you are the undercover agent sent by Crick. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Never put you in the kitchen. A raging behavior like you, we must stop it. Facing the chefs who pointed their guns at him, Sanji said calmly, It's okay. If you want to stop me, just shoot. I know. The other party is a hopeless villain, but give them, it doesn't matter to me what happens next. It's too much trouble if you think about it and decide after all. When you meet someone who wants to eat, just give him food. This is the chef. Sanji's tone was flat, though, but extremely firm. Mu Feng looked like a bystander, watching things happen gradually. Just like the plot, the chefs of Bharati fought Crick. Under Crick's golden armor worth hundreds of millions of Baileys, the chefs were defeated. Then, in the eyes of the chefs in puzzlement, Zepp gave Crick food for 100 people. Advertisement. Next, Crick recognized the identity of Zepp, the former great pirate. My interest is only in this ship and the logbook in Zepp's hands, so, if you don't want to die, just get out of here. Otherwise, I will kill you all with my men later. After a word, he walked out carrying the food. By the way, Akin, haven't you been to the Grand Line? Why do you still say that you don't know anything about it? Luffy asked suddenly. He was very curious about the Grand Line. I really don't know anything. It's unbelievable. It was the 7th day we entered the Grand Line. What happened that day was too unreal. It's like a dream. Until now, my mind was still in chaos. Suddenly, a man appeared suddenly. Annihilated our fleet of 50 ships. Ajin's face was full of fear. That man has a pair of eyes that can kill people. Like an eagle. Sharp eyes. Ask for flowers. What? The green algae who was doing nothing on the side stunned suddenly. Zoro. Do you know him? Seeing Zoro's reaction so great, Luffy asked curiously. Yeah. Zoro nodded, and said in a deep voice, that man, the eagle-eyed man, is the reason I go to sea, and the person I have been looking for. To deal with the entire fleet. Could it be that he has a deep hatred with you? Sanji breathed out a puff of smoke, still unable to hide his shock. One person deals with a fleet of 5,000 people and 50 ships. Does such a person really exist? But Jin didn't have to deceive himself. 0. Advertisement. No, there is no such thing at all. Jin shook his head. Well, if you want me to see, you must have bothered him to take a nap. That fellow Mihawk got up very angry. Suddenly, a smiling voice sounded. Everyone present turned their eyes to the direction of the sound. I saw a young man eating on his own, as if everything that happened just now, and everything that will happen next, has nothing to do with him. By seeing Mu Feng, Zapu's pupils shrank suddenly, apparently recognizing him. But as soon as he uttered the word, white, he was interrupted by Mu Feng. Looking at Zapu, Mu Feng smiled and said, the steak is very good. Chef, did you make it yourself? No, Sanji did it. Zapu replied honestly. Mu Feng interrupted him. Naturally, he didn't want his identity to be revealed. After living for so long, if Zapu didn't even recognize this, he would live on a dog. Mu Feng, are you here too? Seeing Mu Feng, Luffy said with surprise on his face. Mu Feng looked like he was defeated by you, and said, Luffy, I have been here for 2 days, don't tell me, you just found me. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertisement. Chapter 184. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. I just found out. Hehe. By the way, Mu Feng. What are you doing here? Luffy scratched his head and asked curiously. I heard that the food here is delicious, of course I came to eat. Pointing to the plate in front of him, Mu Feng said naturally. Oh, that's it. Luffy looked like this before. Zapu on the side looked at Luffy curiously. Who on earth is this kid? Are you so familiar with big people like White Bear? Don't be kidding. How could our fleet be defeated for such boring reasons? Looking at Mu Feng, Jin roared hoarsely. He completely can't accept such absurd and boring reasons. 677. Is it boring? I don't think so. Taking a light look at Jin, Mu Feng said, this is the Grand Line. To abuse the weak, is the power of the strong. The weak. You actually said that we are the weak. We are the Crick pirates with 5,000 people and 50 ships. Jin still couldn't believe it. Advertisement. 5,000 people, 50 boats. Haha. If it's yours. Even if it's 50,000 people, 500 ships, are still garbage. Mu Feng said lightly. Then he stopped paying attention to Jin, but looked at Luffy. He smiled and asked, Luffy, How is it? Do you feel scared? Scared? How could it be? Hey, I'm starting to get excited. The sea should be like this. Luffy said with excitement, without any fear. Think about the danger anyway. Usopp yelled from the side. Mu Feng smiled and looked at Luffy. Sure enough, Luffy is still the same Luffy. It was at this time that the hull of the ship shook violently. The diners and the chefs on the ship were all panicked. Barati's boat is so big that ordinary waves can't be shaken at all. As for whether it will be a big wave, obviously it was calm just now. What happened? Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Everyone rushed to the deck and saw a terrifying scene. I saw the main ship of the Creek pirates. Actually, was cut off by a single knife. Yo, Mihawk, this guy would come here too. Mu Feng said with a smile, looking at a coffin-like boat floating along the waves in the distance. And Zoro, who was going to chase after the Mary stolen by Nami, also noticed Hawkeye. Suddenly his expression became extremely dignified, and he said, Usopp, the matter of recovering the Mary must be handed over to you first. That man is the eagle-eyed man I'm looking for. It's him. Did he destroy 50 ships by himself? So, was he also the one who destroyed Creek's ship just now? It seems that he is a very ordinary person, and it doesn't seem to be anything. It's a special weapon. Patty was puzzled. Advertisement. Aren't his weapons on his back? Zapu said. This. How is it possible? Could it be that he cut off the boat with that sword? Patty obviously couldn't believe it. He had never seen such a powerful person. That's right. Eagle-eyed man is synonymous with Juggernaut. He is the #1 swordsman in the world. Zapu said lightly. At the same time, he glanced at Mu Feng, who was all right, and thought. And now the strongest swordsman in the world is also here. It's over. It's the guy who crushed our fleet. I didn't expect that he would have been chasing here. Damn. Asshole. What kind of hatred do you have with us? Want to chase us all over the world? The pirate looked desperately at Hawkeye and shouted. Hawkeye tilted his head for a moment, then looked at the pirate, and replied very seriously. To pass the time. Shouldn't this be the case? Expressions. It turned out to be killing time. This pirate of the Creek pirate group was already dazzled by the attitude of the Eagle Eye, forgetting the horror of the Eagle Eye, took the pistol at the Eagle Eye, and pulled the trigger. And Hawkeye just pulled out the black knife behind. After pulling 2 swords, the bullet that could not be caught by the naked eye was easily bounced off by the blade of the black knife. Aren't you very empty? Fight with me. Suddenly a voice sounded. Advertisement. It was Zoro. He challenged Hawkeye. Zoro's expression of warfare on his face tied the turban on his arm to his forehead. Sadly, the weak. If you are also a swordsman, then there is no need to fight. The power disparity between you and me is already clear at a glance. The courage to challenge me comes from your ambition, or from your ignorance. Hawkeye said lightly. There was not the slightest movement in his eyes. As the world's top swordsman, a strong man who once held the name of the world's largest swordsman. He has met a challenger like Zoro, not knowing how many, but the end result is the same, being killed by himself, or defeated by himself. This is my dream, also for an agreement with a close friend. After Zoro finished speaking, he bit the words of Hidao, and the 3 swords faced Eagle Eye, 3 swords. To be honest, I didn't expect. We met so early. Hey, what do you mean? Zoro suddenly looked at Hawkeye with an angry face. Because of the 5.0 Eagle Eye in front of him, he suddenly removed a cross ornament on his neck, and pulled out a small sword several centimeters long, aimed at Zoro. Hawk-eyed man, what is he doing? Seeing this scene, many people on Barati were also puzzled. Haha, Mihawk is not the kind of beast that does its best to catch a rabbit. Zoro is just a famous swordsman in the weakest sea in the East China Sea. This kind of strength is everywhere in the Grand Line. Count. I feel. Mihawk is all because I can't find a smaller knife. Right, Mihawk, Mu Feng said with a smile. Mu Feng's voice is not small, so Mihawk, who is not far away, can naturally hear it. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertisement. Chapter 185. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. White Bear. I didn't expect you to be here. Mihawk was taken aback first, and when he saw Mu Feng clearly, his pupils shrank suddenly and said in surprise. It seems that I should have asked you this sentence. After all, I originally came out of the East China Sea. But you, how could you be in the East China Sea? In addition, your current focus should be on ongoing let's fight. After speaking, Mu Feng pointed to Zoro. Such a weak person. Not interested. Mihawk said lightly after looking at Zoro. Hearing Mihawk's contemptuous words, Zoro's face was full of anger, but Mihawk ignored them. He didn't know how to see a weak person like Zoro. Hee. Believe me, this weak person is different. Mu Feng shrugged and said. Hearing what Mu Feng said, Mihawk looked at Zoro slightly. Look at people. There must be a limit. Don't regret it if you die. Zoro roared angrily, and then rushed straight towards Mihawk. Ghost. Cut. With his hands crossed, Zoro was already full at the beginning. Although you may be a slightly weaker than 11. But in my opinion, you are still a frog in the bottom of the well. In this case, let me teach you how wide the world is. Mihawk still looks calm, said. His steps didn't move a bit, but the knife in his hand stabbed forward. Zoro's powerful attack was directly blocked. At this moment, the air condensed. Big Brother's ghost slash actually doesn't work. That's a trick that Big Brother will win 100% when he makes a move. Advertisement. Zoro's two horses, Johnny and Joseph, were naturally the most surprised. In their cognition, Zoro is an invincible existence. Move. Can't move. What the hell did he do? No one has ever seen this move before. He can actually use that kind of toy knife. How is this possible? Impossible. The gap between us. How could it be so big? At this time, no one was more shocked than Zoro. He had thought that he would be weaker than Hawkeye, but he hadn't thought that the gap between two people would be so big, as if they were separated by a world-like gap. Wow 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 wow. Zoro yelled, attacking Hawkeye. Extremely violent swordsmanship slashed towards Mihawk, completely abandoning the defense. However, no matter how violent Zoro's swordsmanship is, it can be easily blocked by Mihawk with a knife. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. What a rough swordsmanship. Mihawk also took 2 points seriously, of course not because Zoro's strength suddenly became stronger, but because he saw the perseverance in Zoro's eyes. This kind of perseverance, Mihawk has only seen it in his life, and can't help but wonder. Faintly asked. What are you carrying? Why do you want to be the strongest, weak? Hearing Mihawk's question, Zoro's mind suddenly popped up a lot of pictures. I think of Guina, of my agreement with her, of Guina's sudden death, but I promised her that I must work hard with her share, and I must become a great sword with a reputation so loud that even the kingdom of heaven how. Tiger. Hunting. Swordsmanship was more fierce than before. But he was stabbed in the chest by the eagle eye. Fortunately, what Hawkeye was holding was just a toy knife. It didn't pierce the heart at all, otherwise Zoro would just die. Advertisement. Big Brother. Big Brother. Johnny and Joseph shouted. He wanted to run over, but was held down by Luffy. Although Luffy was also very excited and wanted to step forward to help. But Luffy knew that this was Zoro's battle alone, and he would not allow anyone to intervene, even if it would die. Mihawk raised his eyebrows suddenly, his eyes full of surprise. Because he found that even though his chest was pierced, the guy in front of him was still moving forward, as if he didn't care that his heart would be pierced. Why don't you step back? Do you want to be pierced through your heart like this? Haha. Who knows? Zoro said frankly, I just feel that I just have to take a step back. Many important vows and things will be destroyed. It seems that I can never return here. Yes, this is failure. Mihawk said sternly. He finally looked at Zoro. This was the first time Hawkeye looked at the weak. He admitted that the weak man in front of him is the same as Mu Feng said, but slightly different. Hee. Then I can't back up. Zoro smiled miserably. Even if you lose your life. Hey, it's a good time to die. What a surprisingly strong determination. Instead of failing, it is better to choose death. Mihawk sighed inwardly, and at the same time drew out the knife from Zoro's chest. Boy, report your name. Mihawk suddenly realized that he still didn't know Zoro's name. Advertisement. Roronoa Zoro. Zoro said loudly, while posing. The 3 knives were laid out like a big pinwheel. I will remember. It's been a long time since I met the strong 720. Then, I will end you with this black knife in the manner of a swordsman. Hawkeye pulled out the black knife behind him. From Mihawk's point of view, Zoro has such a will, so he should be called the strong man. Among other things, people like Moonlight, Moria, Crocodile, although their strength may be stronger, they can't bear the word strong. Pulled out, the sword that cut our ship. Around, there were pirates from the creek, pirates screaming loudly. This sword that brought them death. 3 swords style, profound meaning. 3,000 worlds and realms. Zoro used his most proud secrets and collided with Mihawk's slash. And the final result. Naturally, in front of Mihawk's slash, Zoro didn't have any resistance. The 2 knives in his hand broke, and only 1 word of Hidao remained intact. After all, it is a big knife 21 work. Although it is a level behind the black knife of Hawkeye, there will be no problem with a few fights. Lost. Is this the number 1 power in the world? It's so strong. Zoro thought silently, closing the words of Hidao, and opening his arms in front of Hawkeye. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertisement. Chapter 186. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. What are you doing? Hawkeye was puzzled and didn't understand Zoro's actions. The wound on the back is the shame of the swordsman. Zoro grinned, ignoring the blood coming out of his mouth, looking at Hawkeye, and said very seriously. Hearing Zoro's words, Hawkeye was taken aback, then a smile appeared on his face. He found that he started to appreciate the weak man named Zoro in front of him. There are not many people who can admire the eagle eyes. Mu Feng counts 1. Red hair counts 1. The whole ocean is definitely not the number of hands. And these people are undoubtedly the top powerhouses. Good point. Hawkeye praised. Then he held the black knife in both hands and swung it down suddenly. From the left shoulder to the right hip, there is a deep bone wound. The blood rushed out like money without money, then Zoro fell into the sea with his face up. Wow, Zoro. Luffy's eyes are splitting, and the whole person is crazy. Raise your fist, activate the fruit ability, and blast towards Mihawk. However, before Luffy attacked, he was held down by Mu Feng. Advertisement. Mu Feng. What are you doing? This guy killed Zoro. I must defeat him and avenge Zoro. Luffy shouted angrily. Idiot, that green algae head is still alive. Of course, if you don't get into the water to save him now. I promise, he will be drowned. Mu Feng said helplessly. If Hawkeye really wanted to kill Zoro, then with a single slash, Zoro would not be seriously injured, but would be cut in half directly. Really? Mu Feng. Luffy's eyes lit up. Do I have to lie to you? Hey, Luffy, what are you doing? Don't forget that you are demon fruit power. You save the green algae head when jumping in, or let the green algae head save you. Diaresis. Feng had nothing but helpless for Luffy. Turning his head, looked at Johnny and Joseph on the side. Mu Feng said, Isn't that green algae your eldest brother? Don't hurry to save him. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Oh. The 2 guys reacted and jumped into the sea hurriedly. Soon, Zoro was rescued to Baratie. The wound in front of him spurted blood and lay on the ground. Zoro gasped for a few breaths. Suddenly, he drew out a word of Hidao, raised it, and pointed the tip of the sword to the sky. Luffy, listen, do you hear? Zoro asked. I heard it. Luffy's answer was also simply and neatly. It makes you feel uneasy. One Piece. If you can't even become the world's number 1 swordsman, it will make you embarrassed. I won't lose again. I'm defeating him and becoming the number 1 in the world. Before Jonao. I won't lose again. Do you have an opinion? One Piece. Zoro swore his lifelong vow. Advertisement. Hehehehe. No idea. Luffy smiled innocently. My name is Dracula Mihawk. In the years to come, I will be waiting for you somewhere in the sea to challenge me. Hawkeye said lightly. Suddenly, the conversation turned, and Hawkeye continued. However, I don't know which year you were looking at. The world's number 1 swordsman. This title no longer belongs to me 6 years ago, but now the world's largest swordsman, also here. Speaking of this, the black knife in Eagle Eye's hand pointed at Mu Feng, and said solemnly, White Bear, accept my challenge, I will defeat you and regain the throne of the world's largest swordsman. Huh, Mu Feng, aren't you Marine Admiral? When did you become the world's largest swordsman? Luffy looked at Mu Feng and asked curiously. Polar Bear, Marine Admiral, the world's number 1 swordsman. Is that the strongest legend in the world? The scary young man in front of him. At this moment, the brains of everyone present became a bit awkward. Can't the world's #1 swordsman be Marine Admiral? This guy Luffy. There is something in his mind. I really want to knock it on and take a look. Ignoring the idiot Luffy, Mu Feng glanced at a warlike Eagle Eye. Faintly said, "Sorry, I refuse." Hawkeye was stunned. Zepp was stunned. Sanji was stunned. Zoro was stunned. Everyone in the room was stunned. Advertisement. In the cognition of normal people, since Mu Feng is the world's largest swordsman, he should not refuse any swordsman's challenge. Just like the Hawkeye just now, at first, Zoro was definitely a weaker in his eyes, but Hawkeye did not refuse Zoro's challenge. Backquote, why didn't you accept my challenge? White Bear. Hawkeye was puzzled. Because you are too weak. Mu Feng made no secret of his contempt for Hawkeye. Quiet. Very quiet. The air seems to have frozen. Actually, someone said that Hawkeye is too weak. Although the person who said this was White Bear, Marine Admiral, and the #1 swordsman in the world. Maybe he had defeated Hawkeye before, but it would be too arrogant and defiant to say so. What did you say? White Bear. Hawkeye was stunned. Didn't you hear me clearly? Although this is indeed a bit of a blow to you, if it is your request, then I can only say it again. Because you are too weak, good promise. If you don't hear clearly this time, I won't repeat it. Mu Feng shrugged. Because I'm too weak, so I don't accept the challenge. With the cultivation of eagle eyes, Rao couldn't help being irritated by Mu Feng's words. Looking at Mu Feng angrily, Hawkeye solemnly said, 6 years ago, after I lost to you in the naval headquarters battle, I also found that I still have room for improvement in my swordsmanship. In the past 6 years, I have a moment. I didn't dare to rest and hone myself. Finally, a few months ago, I finally took a step further and realized my sword intent and reached your realm. Perhaps, if you compete for strength, I am not as good as you. However, if it is just a trial of swordsmanship, I will never admit that you are better than me. So, today's battle will inevitably happen whether you agree or not. Eagle Eye pulled out the black knife and pointed it at Mu Feng. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertisement. Chapter 187. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. When you have reached my level, I don't have to be weak when competing in swordsmanship. Hawkeye. Who gave you confidence? I'm curious. Is it your subjective assumption? I still think that I have already revealed back then all swordsmanship. And, in these 6 years, only your swordsmanship has been improving, and my swordsmanship has not moved forward. Mu Feng tilted his head and asked curiously. Hearing Mu Feng's words, Yingyan's face changed and changed. He did not think that Mu Feng's swordsmanship would improve in the past 6 years. Because as the world's #1 swordsman once, Eagle Eye knows that he is in that position. Without an opponent, his own swordsmanship cannot make any progress. Of course, Hawkeye thinks that Mu Feng's swordsmanship has not improved at all. And now, Bai Shang actually said that. Is it possible that compared to 6 years ago, his swordsmanship has reached another level? How is this possible? After one step closer, Hawkeye can feel that his swordsmanship has reached an incredible level, and feel that this is the end of swordsmanship. There can be no higher realm. 540. What about the White Bear? How can the White Bear continue to grow stronger? Well, Hawkeye, looking at you, I don't believe it. Seeing the expression on Hawkeye's face, Mu Feng raised his brow and said with a smile. The mammoth blade had appeared in his hands at some point. Since you don't believe it, then you can see it with your own eyes. After speaking, Mu Feng drew out the mammoth blade and stood sideways. Hawkeye's expression became excited. In his opinion, Mu Feng is like this, he is ready to fight him. Advertisement. The people around are also staring at Mu Feng and Hawkeye. He didn't dare to blink his eyes, for fear that he might miss something. The confrontation between the White Bear and the Eagle Eye, the former world's largest swordsman and now the world's largest swordsman. This matchup is definitely the most top-notch matchup in the world, and no one wants to miss any scene. What are you doing? Seeing Hawkeye looking like an enemy, Mu Feng asked curiously. Don't you want to fight? Eagle BBCC frowned. Mu Feng said with a, really lost to you, expression. I seem to just say to let you know, and I didn't say I want to fight you. Then what do you mean? Hawkeye suddenly felt like being fooled. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. It's not interesting, you just need to open your eyes and watch it. Mu Feng said lightly, facing the sea, raising the mammoth blade in the eyes of everyone's doubts. What is he going to do? This thought came out of everyone's mind, and then everyone's eyes widened in the next moment, and their jaws were about to fall. A large ditch with a width of hundreds of meters and a length of unknown number of nautical miles appeared in front of you. Bai Shang. Bai Shang. Bai Shang. He actually split the sea. The diners and chefs of Bharati are from the East China Sea, so no one has seen such a slash. Even Zapu, who has set foot on the Grand Line, is just a pirate offering a reward of 2 to 3 billion Baileys, who can't even be armed, and has never seen such a battle. How can they not be shocked? How can they not be frightened? Advertisement. Go. Just kidding. Cut off the sea. Usopp. Is this the power of the world's #1 swordsman? It's really scary. But I won't be afraid, I must surpass him. Zoro. Comma 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 comma. The only person present that can create the same momentum as Hawkeye. However, he is more shocking than anyone else has come. Although, he can also cut the sea. But it can't be like Mu Feng. The cut sea hasn't closed for a long time, and it's in that huge trench. Hawkeye can feel the sword intent filled with violent and destructive aura. It was not comparable to the sword intent that he had just condensed. Hawkeye has a feeling. If Mu Feng's slash just now was swiped against him, then I can't resist it. Even under this violent and destructive sword intent, it is possible to be instantly destroyed into flesh and blood. I lost. Although it was difficult, Hawkeye still said these 3 words. This sentence seemed to exhaust all of Hawkeye's energy. Looking at Mu Feng, in a daze, Hawkeye seemed to feel that it was a mountain at all, a mountain that he could not surpass at all. No matter how hard I try, I can only look up at the top of the mountain at the foot of the mountain. Despair filled Hawkeye's heart. Advertisement. Hey, I said you are too weak, you still don't believe it. Shrugged, Mu Feng said helplessly, Mihawk, you are too persistent. As a swordsman, what you have to surpass is never anyone else. Defeating others is your goal of improving your swordsmanship. Then one day, when you defeat everyone, your swordsmanship will stagnate. The realm will not be diligent. Then what should I do? Yingyan looked at Mu Feng with confusion. It's very simple, since the enemy will eventually be exhausted. Then, treat yourself as your opponent. If you defeat yesterday's self, today you will be a brand new self. In this way, your strength will no longer be restricted and will always be stronger. Mu Feng said lightly. Treat yourself as your opponent, defeat yourself, and then keep getting stronger. Bai Shang, is this how you become so powerful? Hawkeye murmured subconsciously. Hee. Mu Feng just smiled, and didn't say anything. I can't tell you. I don't have to be so troublesome when I become stronger. It's okay to tear 2 super experienced scrolls, and there will be no bottleneck restrictions. That's really shocking, isn't it? Mihawk, if I tell you the truth, you will definitely break down, so I can only smile indifferently. More and more, the light in the eagle's eyes grew brighter. The despair just disappeared. Standing up, the black knife fell into the scabbard. Hawkeye respectfully made a disciple's gift to Mu Feng. Then, looking at Mu Feng, he said very seriously, Admiral the White Bear, Mihawk feels the gift of reshaping today. If there is any need for Admiral the White Bear in the future, he will die. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertisement. Chapter 188. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Looking at the eagle eye in front of him, he had an expression willing to graze the ground. Mu Feng couldn't help but secretly said in his heart, I am a tiger's body shaken, and then the eagle eye worships his domineering air. It's okay, just don't bother me. Mu Feng shrugged and said casually. Then Mu Feng looked at Bharati, and said helplessly, well, it seems there is no way to eat properly. Luffy, this pirate will be taken care of by you, I will leave first. Pointing to Crick, said to Luffy. Hey, no problem, leave it to me. Luffy said, patting his chest. Compared with the plot, Luffy's strength has been greatly improved. Defeating Crick will certainly not be as difficult as in the plot, and of course it will not be too easy. Comma 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 dash comma 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 comma. Mu Feng, who left Bharati, did not return to naval headquarters, and caught up with Going Merry. Because he found that stirring up the plot is also quite interesting. To be honest, Going Merry is just an old-fashioned sailing boat. According to normal logic, it is not suitable for long-distance sailing, especially in the extreme weather of the Grand Line. But for the protagonist, there is no need for logic at all. That's why Going Merry can carry Luffy and them, riding the wind and waves all the way to the City of Seven Waters. Even, once reached the Sky Island located at an altitude of 10,000 meters. On Going Merry, Nami burst into tears. After pushing Johnny and Joseph into the sea, she left alone on the Merry. Going Merry was originally a small boat, and even a navigator with great nautical talent like Nami could naturally drive away easily. Advertisement. The slight sea breeze was blowing Nami's orange hair. On the young face, there was a melancholy and mood that was not at her age. The figure looked a little thin, as if to be overwhelmed by the cruel reality. Sorry. You. If you meet again next time. Luffy, I don't know if you will want me to be your partner. Can you meet again? I want to be free soon. Baramal. Nami putting his head between his arms, tears have soaked the clothes. With this money, 100 million Baileys is enough. The village. And everyone. Nami thought of everyone in Kokoyashi village, and the pain in his heart was relieved. From the age of 10, Nami began his difficult life, not only trying to save money, but also dealing with the errant pirates. Now, this kind of life is finally over. Oh, this is not right. Suddenly, a voice full of laughter rang out, and Nami was taken aback and hurriedly followed the reputation. I saw that Mu Feng was resting his hands on the back of his head, leaning against Going Merry's sheep's head. Looking at Nami with a slight smile on his face. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. As a navigator, it's wrong to steal the pirate ship. Ah, you, who are you? Nami screamed suddenly, and hurried back a few steps. Opened the distance between Mu Feng and pulled out a dagger. Holding the dagger in both hands, aiming at Mu Feng, looking at him with extreme alertness. The experience of the sea in the past few years has made Nami very skilled in doing all this. Advertisement. The reaction is good, the action is very skilled. Nami, the little thief cat of the East China Sea, who am I? Can't you see it? Mu Feng pretended to be fierce. You are a pirate. Nami pretended to be calm and said. However, her heart was panicked to death. In disguise, Nami has already learned this skill in the past few years of sailing life, otherwise she would have died many times. And what will happen next, Nami can also guess. It is nothing more than robbery. In the past few years, she has no idea how many times she has encountered it. From the panic at the beginning, to the present, although he is still afraid, he will not panic. Nami has definitely undergone a lot of tempering in the past few years. In the face of these, Nami actually has a lot of ways to deal with it. The safest way is to give everything to the person in front of you, and then pretend to surrender, and then see if there is a chance to steal the treasure back, so that you can run away without any help. Ask for flowers. But this time is different. There are treasures on the ship, a lot of treasures, enough to buy the entire Kokoyashi village by himself. Nami doesn't want to give up. What do you want to do? Nami still holds a 10,000th hope. Ahahaha, what a dumb question. As a pirate, what else can I do when I ran on another pirate ship? Of course it was robbed. In the restaurant on the sea, I listened to the long nose. The guy said you have tens of millions of Pele's treasures on board. Originally, I was still worrying about robbery. After all, the guy with the grass brain is idiot, but his strength is pretty good. Unexpectedly, you would steal the pirate ship. It really helped me a lot, ahaha. Mu Feng laughed arrogantly. Advertisement. 0. Holding the dagger, Nami looked at Mu Feng shaking all over. Biting her lower lip tightly, with tears rolling in her eyes, Nami's mood at the moment is an indescribable despair. 8 years of hard work was about to be achieved. I didn't expect that in the end, this despair before success directly crushed Nami and caused her to sit on the ground. I just teased it twice. Not so much, Mu Feng murmured. Nokigao. Everyone. Village. Baramal. You. Nami pressed her face tightly and burst into tears. Hey, Nami, Are you okay? Mu Feng asked. For beautiful women, Mu Feng can't see them crying. Shaking his head, Mu Feng squatted in front of Nami, trying to check her situation. But at this moment, looking up at Mu Feng, the dagger that fell to her feet when she collapsed on the ground before, did not know when it appeared in her hand again. Then in Mu Feng's surprised eyes, the dagger pierced Mu Feng's chest. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertisement. Chapter 189. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Mu Feng lowered his head, looking at the dagger stuck in his chest. His face was stunned. It seemed that he didn't react at all, and he couldn't help but stumbled back. The throat was still making noises such as, whoa. Lifting his head, Mu Feng looked at Nami with a dull face, with no blood on his face. Nami released his grip on the dagger, stepped back, gasping for breath. I couldn't help trembling, and my fear was still unable to calm down. Although she was in the Aaron pirate group, she had never seen murder scenes. But this was the first time she killed someone by herself. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. Nami covered her mouth and looked at Mu Feng's corpse, muttering, 643, choked up. She never thought that she would have a murder one day. This should be your first time. Suddenly a voice sounded. Nami was taken aback, then his face was full of horror. Because of the corpse killed by himself, he actually sat up, still looking at himself with a smile on his face. Advertisement. You, ghost, don't come here. Looking at Mu Feng walking towards her, Nami kept backing away, but going merry was not big at first, and she quickly retreated to the end. Oh, in the sea, you must always be vigilant. It is not a good habit to relax casually. Also, after killing someone, you must remember to carefully check whether the enemy is dead or not. Through. Mu Feng preached with a faint smile. Then he pointed to the position of his chest, and continued, doesn't it seem very abnormal without even a little bit of blood? You haven't found such a big loophole. In addition, this kind of thing that is not much worse than a toy knife. As he said, Mu Feng pinched the handle of the dagger and slowly pulled it out. With regard to Kamui's pupil technique, after 6 years of use, Mu Feng has already become superb. Although Nami's reaction was quick, in Mu Feng's eyes, he was no faster than a snail, and there was absolutely no threat. For the real strong, there is no threat, haha. While speaking, Mu Feng threw the dagger on the ground, and Nami shivered in fright. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. You must remember what I just said. Otherwise, maybe one day, you will lose your life because you don't pay attention. Mu Feng said with a smile. You. After stammering for a long time, Nami didn't say anything. Very interesting. I will say sorry after killing. This is the first time I saw it. Mu Feng leaned over. Their faces were only a few centimeters apart, and Mu Feng could feel Nami's nose and raised his hand to touch on Nami's face. Mu Feng suddenly said, would you like to think about it and follow me? To be honest, I am very upset about the fact that I often get lost in the sea. Looking at Nami, Mu Feng was really tempted. He already liked the character of Nami very much, strong and brave. Of course, the most important thing is that he is beautiful and big enough, cough cough cough. Besides, Nami is a top navigator with super high potential. Think about it, there is really a lack of a navigator on his ship. Guy has always served as a navigator. Advertisement. Being my subordinate is much better than being the subordinate of a little pirate who has no future at all, or a little thief cat who is afraid of every day. Mu Feng said with a smile. You still want to give a fish, where are the people? You. How did you know? Nami's eyes widened, and at the same time, he subconsciously concealed the tattoo on his arm, which was quite concealed. How would I know? Hee. Mu Feng put on an evil and arrogant expression on his face, and then said, on this sea, there is nothing I don't know. Then, Mu Feng continued to bewitched. Also, if you are willing to be my subordinate, I can help you to deal with the murloc that bothers you. How? As far as I know, you seem to be on Arana. Don't you like murlocs very much? Think about it. Hearing Mu Feng's words, the expression on Nami's face loosened a little. Subconsciously, he wanted to agree directly, but he stopped when the words came to his lips. Because she thought of Luffy, Zoro, Usopp, and the chef. I have a partner. Although I don't know if they will recognize themselves as partners when they meet again, although they just don't have many days of contact. But she can't make Nami abandon her partner. You bastard. Damn pirate. I will never agree to be your subordinate. Looking at Mu Feng, Nami shouted hoarse with anger. Advertisement. But as soon as the words yelled out, Nami regretted. Of course, it is not regret not being a subordinate of Mu Feng. But he was afraid that if he ran into the guy in front of him like this, would he kill himself in a fit of anger. Thinking of this, Nami closed his eyes in despair. Quietly waiting for Mu Feng to kill herself, for some reason, she suddenly had an unprecedented relief. Finally, I don't have to bear that kind of pressure anymore. But at the same time, there is still a sense of guilt. Sister. Everyone. The village. I can't save you anymore. Belumal. I'll see you again soon. I'll see you again. 3.4. Rejected. What a pity. I admire you very much. Mu Feng's voice was full of regrets. However, he didn't mean to force Nami anymore. Draw a nautical map of the world. Such a dream destined Nami to become a pirate. Because Marine doesn't need any nautical charts at all, they already have them. Moreover, what Mu Feng admired is Nami in the plot. He can't strip off Nami's dream and leave her by his side as a vase. Mu Feng can't do such a cruel thing. Nami, who has closed his eyes in despair, is ready to die. However, suddenly I felt a hand on his head, rubbing his hair. It was warm, and made Nami feel inexplicably at ease. Nami couldn't help but open his eyes. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertisement. Chapter 190. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. It was the fierce and wicked guy who was looking at him with a smile on his face. Smile. It seems very warm. Nami suddenly felt this way, and she couldn't help being shocked. Are you not going to kill me? Nami asked cautiously. Kill you? Why do you want to kill you? I never said I wanted to kill you. And from the beginning, I never admitted that I was a pirate. Get to know, my name is Mu Feng and my name is Marine. Looking at Nami, Mu Feng smiled faintly. Ha, Marine. Nami's eyes widened, a little unbelievable. After a long while, watching Mu Feng still feel a little scared and said, then are you here to catch me? Nami, known as the little thief cat, has always been stealing things. Why do you want to catch you? Although you are a thief, the targets of your theft are all pirates. We at Marine have no obligation to protect the pirate's property. Mu Feng shrugged and said with a smile. Nami is also long. He was relieved. 10. And I believe you have difficulties, don't you? Mu Feng smiled lightly. There are difficulties, isn't it? It's just this very common sentence that instantly broke Nami's psychological defenses and plunged directly into Mu Feng's arms, and crying. From the age of 10, when other children are still having fun, she has taken on huge responsibilities. There is no way to confide in anyone, this kind of depression can be imagined. Advertisement. At this moment, Nami seems to be completely liberated. Mu Feng did not stop Nami from crying, but gently stroked her back. At the same time, he said softly, cry and cry, it will be much better. Let all your grievances be vented at once and happily. Sure enough, hearing Mu Feng say this, Nami cried more fiercely. However, it can be clearly heard that the voice is not as depressed, painful as just now, but cheerful. After a long while, Nami stopped crying, but found himself lying in Mu Feng's arms. Ah! Yelled. Nami hurriedly backed away, holding his arms tightly in front of him, looking at Mu Feng with a vigilant face, and said, what do you want to do? Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Obviously, Nami believes that Mu Feng is going to plot against himself. That. Mu Feng shrugged, looking innocent. He said. That. Did you forget? It seemed that you took the initiative to plunge into my arms just now. Then, Mu Feng showed that I was the victim, okay. Looks like. Nami thought for a while, it seemed that this was really the case. His face flushed slightly. It's the first time Nami has had such close contact with a boy when he grows up. Of course, it doesn't count when you beat Luffy, Zoro, and Usopp. Aren't you crying? Let's go, then we will go to solve the guy along. Mu Feng said with a smile. Solving Eren. Nami was taken aback, then panic appeared on his face. Advertisement. He said hurriedly. No. No. Aaron will kill you. To Mu Feng, Nami has already developed a good impression, how can he watch him go to death? Nami. Don't underestimate me, I'm very powerful. Looking at Nami, Mu Feng said helplessly. Goods like Aaron, although they have combat power comparable to major generals, in the eyes of Mu Feng, they are trash fish. In fact, for the current Mu Feng, even an admiral-level powerhouse can bring a little trouble to Mu Feng at best, or even trouble. No, don't. Nami still stopped. In her opinion, Aaron is the most terrifying pirate in the world. Even Marine is absolutely invincible. She has seen with her own eyes that Aaron's Murloc pirates have destroyed the Marine battleship many times. The reason why they have not attracted the attention of naval headquarters is mainly because Aaron is also very smart. He will pretend to be a shipwreck. And Mu Feng is so young, Nami does not think that he can beat Aaron with strength. I have saved up to 100 million Baileys and can complete the agreement with Aaron without fighting. Nami still firmly believes in his deal with Aaron. This is the belief that has allowed her to persevere for 8 years. Looking at the expression on Nami's face, Mu Feng knew that it was impossible for her to give up. Forget it, let Nami experience despair once, so that she can better understand the cruelty of being the sea. Came to Kokoyashi village, Nami's home. Nuauchi-gao, Nami's sister. Although it's not very beautiful, it's pretty good looking. After hearing that Mu Feng is Nami's friend, I was very happy and gave Mu Feng a warm welcome. Advertisement. Well, the taste of oranges is very sweet, very good. Mu Feng threw a piece of orange into his mouth, a sweetness filled his mouth, and he couldn't help but nod in praise. When he returned to Kokoyashi village and threw Mu Feng to Nuauchi-gao, Nami ran to the orange grove. Nami has never brought a friend back in 207. You are the first one. While talking, Nuauchi-gao handed a glass of orange juice to Mu Feng. What are you doing? At this moment, the house suddenly became noisy. Mu Feng frowned and walked out with Nuauchi-gao. First saw a marine who looked like a mouse, and said sharply, "Squeak. I'm the Colonel Rat of the 16th Division of Marine. Is that criminal named Nami you? It doesn't show up when I read the comics, but when I see real people, I am really a mouse." Criminal. So too. Because I am a pirate, of course I am a big criminal. But I am a cadre of Aaron's group. I think, since you are a colonel here, you should understand. If you attack me, Aaron wouldn't stand by and watch. In this way, are you still looking for something to do with me? Nami embraced his arms and looked at Colonel Mouse. Holding Aaron's banner to scare people, Nami does this kind of thing frequently. Squeaking. What are you talking about? I don't understand. Pirate. I haven't received such information. I won't do it to you because of this. But, I'll take it. When it comes to the information that you are a thief. Colonel Mouse looked at Nami with a wicked smile. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertisement. Chapter 191. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. I heard that you stole a lot of treasures from the pirate. Since the other party is a pirate, then I don't intend to ask you to embarrass you. But a thief is a thief, and sin is a sin. Understand? Steal from a criminal the things that came, the stolen goods. Of course they have to be handed over to the government. Colonel Mouse looked at Nami and continued. What did you say? Nami was shocked. I mean, all the treasures you have stolen so far. All have to be turned in. The mouse said, looking at Nami with a pitiful face. Go. Find me all the stolen goods. Wait a minute. Don't just break into other people's homes. Why? Is this what you Marine should do? Isn't there something more you need to do than this? Aaron and his team destroy the town and wantonly killing. You all know it. Because of the rule of those guys, everyone on this island has become slaves. Regardless of the current big problem, but rob the stolen goods from me as a thief, is this what your government meant? Nami shouted excitedly. Squeak. Don't pretend to be a noble criminal and say something great, little girl. Leave her alone and continue searching. Colonel Mouse said impatiently. Colonel, this field is a bit weird. Finally, someone discovered the clue. Advertisement. Nami was anxious, and wanted to step forward to stop. That little girl's money was saved to save the village of Kokoyashi. Do you Marines still have the right to grab the money? Suddenly, there was an angry rebuke. It was Aegean who was angry, a strange guy with a windmill on his head. He is also the mayor of Kokoyashi village and has always liked Nami's adoptive mother Balumal. Mr. Aegean. You. How do you know? Nami was a little sluggish. Not only I, but everyone in the village knows. But if you know this, when you escape here, you may be troubled by our expectations. So we pretend to know nothing. Backquote. Aegean explained. Colonel Mouse didn't bother to pay attention to the conversation between Nami and Jien. At this moment, all his spirits are concerned about the 100 million Baileys, but Aaron has promised to split the account with him 50 or 5. I haven't found it yet. I'm not looking for rice grains. It's 100 million Baileys. It's impossible to find it. Seeing that his subordinates have not found it yet, Colonel Mouse yelled a little irritably. Nami, who was on the side, was stunned when he heard the words of Colonel Mouse. Why do you know the amount? Could it be, that guy Aaron called you over here? Thinking of this, Nami was full of anger. When he saw Colonel Mouse's smug expression, Nami knew that all of this was caused by Aaron behind. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Aaron. Nami rushed to his head in anger and ran towards Aaron Park. After Nami left, the mouse quickly found the place where Nami Zangbailey was. Advertisement. Seeing the arrogant laughing mouse, Aegean became more and more angry. That's it. Everyone, take up your weapons and prepare for battle. Aegean also couldn't bear the torture of Aaron in this way. Nami. 8 years ago, we once wanted to abandon our lives. But then we vowed, no matter how hard and humiliating it is under the rule of those bastards. But as long as Nami is still alive, we will continue to bear it. But this is the answer of those guys. Now that the breakthrough to liberate the village has been closed, there is no hope in the sphere of rule on this island. Those Murlocs are playing with Nami's kindness, and we can never forgive these beasts. Aegean is holding a knife and roaring loudly. He is more angry than anyone. Can't stand the rule of those guys anymore. Our villagers are mentally prepared to go to war at any time. Yes. Desperately defeat those Murlocs. The villagers were very excited. Some raised their hoe, some of the axe. I'm sorry, as a Marine, I am really ashamed. Suddenly, the voice sounded. Although the voice is not very loud, everyone can hear it clearly. And this voice seemed to have a magical power, which made everyone quiet. He looked over at the same time. He was a young man in his 20s. He had a very good eye. Aegean didn't know him at all, and he certainly wouldn't be a villager in Kokoyashi village. Advertisement. What are you doing, Mu Feng? Hurry up and leave us here. You are not a villager in Kokoyashi village. You don't know the bad situation here. If you don't leave here quickly, you will die. Nuauchi said loudly. The friend Nami brought back quickly persuaded him. Backquote I said, first I'm a Marine, if I see this kind of scum, I don't care. That would be too sorry for the salary the marshal paid me. Mu Feng said with a smile. Squeaky. Marine. Boy, although you look familiar. Maybe you really are a Marine. But depending on your age, it's a lieutenant at best. My mouse is a colonel. Are you scared? Tell you, it's too late. Tell me, which branch are you from? Who is the chief? I want to remove you from Marine. The mouse said extremely arrogantly. Mu Feng, titled White Bear, was Marine Admiral at that time. My chief. Naval Headquarters Malin Vanders Buddha Sengoku. Here is his phone worm. You can contact me. I'm going to see what you plan to do. First quit Marine. With that, Mu Feng dialed a phone bug and threw it to Colonel Mouse. Bolu. Promise. The phone worm rang twice and was connected. Mu Feng boy, what's the matter? Don't tell me, what trouble have you caused? A calm voice rang from the other end of the phone worm. Hearing this sound, Colonel Mouse shivered. The phone worm in his hand almost didn't get thrown out. As a colonel, he naturally heard the voice of Marshal Marine. He raised his head and looked at Mu Feng again. It looks more and more like, and the person in the poster that hangs in the branch, which is bigger than Marshal Sengoku's poster. No, it's the same person. Admiral of Headquarters, Admiral, the strongest white bear in the world. I actually provoke Admiral the White Bear. Want to quit Marine. Thinking of this, Colonel Mouse couldn't help despairing. A stench gradually dissipated. Look at the crotch of Colonel Mouse again. This guy was scared out of poop. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertisement. Chapter 192. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. White Admiral, the white bear. Things are not like this. Colonel Mouse said with a smile that couldn't be seen anywhere better than crying. Now Colonel Mouse wants to kill Aaron. Can you provoke Admiral? Isn't it like this? What is it like? Do you think I am blind? Looking at Colonel Mouse, Mu Feng asked lightly. Hearing Mu Feng's words, recalling his domineering appearance just now, the mouse trembled. Puff. With his legs soft, Colonel Mouse knelt directly in front of Mu Feng. Forgive me, Admiral, the white bear. I don't dare anymore. These are all forced by Aaron to do it, they are all Aaron that guy. Colonel Mouse burst into tears and kept knocking his head. I was forced. Okay. Mu Feng suddenly smiled and said. Ah. But, obviously, Mu Feng hadn't finished speaking yet. The next moment, the tone was as cold as ice, and said, but, wait for the next life. Advertisement. Colonel Mouse was taken aback, but he didn't react yet, and looked up at 110 to Mu Feng. In sight, only an index finger is getting bigger and bigger. Then Colonel Mouse heard the last voice in his life. Finger pistol M500 hand cannon. Like the M500 missile, the M500 hand cannon is also the finger pistol, an enhanced version of the M500. But in terms of power, it is much weaker than the M500 missile. But to deal with such things as Colonel Mouse, M500 missiles are not needed at all. Its practical M500 hand cannon, Mu Feng feels a bit wasteful. But if you use the M500, it will be bloody, and there is Nuauchi on the side, which is not good. Using the M500 hand cannon will directly destroy the corpse. The M500 hand bombarded it, and the ground was like a plow, and a huge dent appeared. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. It is 7 or 8 meters wide and 2 meters deep, it spreads to the sea. Open. Are you kidding? So scary. Marine Admiral. He just said he was Marine Admiral. Looks like. Marine Admiral is the most powerful thing in Marine. He is so young. Could it be fake? Stupid. Don't you see Colonel Mouse being so scared just now? It must be true. Now we can save Coco Yaxi village. Advertisement. But Aaron is so powerful, can anyone really beat him? The surrounding villagers talked a lot, some were delighted, some were worried. In their eyes, Aaron was the most powerful pirate in the world, invincible. Mu Feng, what happened? Marshal Sengoku's slightly anxious voice sounded from the phone bug that fell to the side. Because Sengoku heard the sound of fighting on Mu Feng's side, he became nervous in an instant, for fear that Mu Feng might cause any trouble again. Picking up the phone worm, Mu Feng said with a smile, Marshal. Just now there was a guy who wanted to contact you and quit Marine. I'll give him your phone worm. Unexpectedly, this guy is actually direct. I was so frightened that I was so helpless. Who? Sengoku twitched his mouth and drove Mu Feng out of Marine. With Mu Feng's current prestige in Marine, even 5 elders can't do it. A colonel from the 16th branch of the East China Sea, and colluded with the pirates. Mu Feng said. Collusion with the pirates. Who is it? Damn. Sengoku's tone suddenly rose when he heard that there was such a thing, obviously very angry. BABD, a guy named Mouse. Marshal, you think it's damn right. Hey, it's the same as mine. Mu Feng had the same meaning as a hero saw. Wait, Mu Feng, you didn't kill him. Hearing what Mu Feng said, a guess suddenly popped out of Sengoku's mind, and his face was dark. In Marine, the colonel is already considered not a small level. You know, when Smoker first appeared, he was just a colonel, and he was the most important cadre of Marine. Of course, is it possible to see this kind of asshole, and I have to confess it to him. Well, if there is nothing else, then goodbye, Marshal. Mu Feng directly hung up the call worm, and then threw it away. Entered the backpack space to prevent Sengoku from harassing himself again. Advertisement. At this moment, in the distance, Nami suddenly ran over. The smile on his face is not crying but a smile that can calm people's minds. The first sentence that came over was, everyone, wait a little longer, I will save money again. I grow up, I believe it will be fast this time. Nuauchigao, Aegean, the villagers, all did not speak, but looked at Mu Feng. Nami was also very strange and couldn't help but look over. Nami, what else are you talking about? Isn't the money still here? Mu Feng smiled and pointed to the Bailey in the box next to him. Some Baileys were still stuck with dirt and blood. It can be seen that every Bailey it was all accumulated by Nami's hard work and witnessed Nami's sadness. This is my Bailey. Isn't it taken away by Marine? Nami was taken aback, and then looked at Mu Feng with a puzzled face, obviously very puzzled. Don't forget, I said that I am also a Marine. First said that Marine is not responsible for protecting the pirates' property. Mu Feng said with a smile. Nami, Mu Feng is Marine Admiral. Nuojiao whispered from the side. Marine Admiral. Mu Feng. Are you a White Bear Admiral? Nami was taken aback for a moment, covering her mouth suddenly, a little unbelievable. Often hanging out in the ocean, Nami has certainly heard of Mu Feng's name. Stepping up to Nami, he raised his hand and rubbed Nami's hair. Mu Feng said. Nami, don't cry anymore, it won't look good if you cry. Promise me that I won't cry anymore. As a reward, I will help you to get rid of Aaron, how about? Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertisement. Chapter 193. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Let Marine collect all the money Nami stolen. Tweet. Aaron, only you can come up with such a ruthless trick. Aaron Park, the cadre of the Dragon Pirates, who is good at Murloc karate, looked at Aaron and said with a smile. Ahahaha. I'm an excellent surveyor like Nami, how could I just watch her escape? Having said that, I am not a demon. As long as the surveying work of the seas around the world is completed, she will be free again. Puff ha 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 ha. But that will be decades later. Along laughed arrogantly. A few decades from now. Ha ha. I don't think it will take such a long time. Suddenly, a voice sounded. Aaron, who was laughing, suddenly stopped abruptly. Frowning, looking in the direction of the sound, it is Nami and the other youth. It's Nami. Why did you come back again? Bring a human. Ha ha. Don't worry, if you can really put 100 million Baileys in front of me, I will definitely give you freedom. So I'm still honest now, actually survey and map the sea area of the East China Sea. I think that Nami will no longer be able to map the sea area in the future. This time, I am here to help Nami get his freedom back. Mu Feng said lightly. Get back Nami's freedom. Ahahaha. Aaron seemed to have heard the best joke in the world. After laughing for a long time, he looked at Mu Feng with disdain, and said, only you are a low-level race. Don't be funny. Ha ha ha. At the end, Aaron began to laugh wildly up. Mu Feng did not respond, but waited for Aaron to finish laughing. Then he began to speak, his tone of voice filled with doubts. Lower race. If I remember correctly, in Grand Line, it seems that the Murlocs are the lower races. Even the mermaid is not as good as the mermaid, at least the beautiful mermaid. It can be sold at a better price. Is it that I made a mistake? It seems that I have to buy 2 Murlocs next time I go to Chambord and ask. You, damn it. Along's eyes were splitting, his eyes flushed at Mu Feng. He is an extreme racist, how can he tolerate Mu Feng discriminating against the Murlocs so much? Advertisement. Damn. Haha. Even Jinbei stood in front of me and didn't dare to say something like my damn thing. You guy who survived in Donghago because of Jinbei. You dare to say such things in front of me. Really ignorant or fearless. Mu Feng shook his head helplessly. Asshole thing. It's up to you, to be worthy of being an enemy of Aaron's boss. Go make feed. Come out, huge combatant. Aaron hasn't reacted yet this time, there is a fish next to him. The man became angry at first and blew a horn. The sound of the trumpet fell, and a minotaur sea monster emerged from the sea on the side. Moo. The bullhead sea monster yelled, his stupid appearance suddenly became hideous, and he opened his mouth and pounced straight at Mu Feng, as if he was about to swallow Mu Feng directly into his stomach. Mu Feng, be careful. That's a sea beast Mu, it's amazing. Nami said in horror. But Mu Feng was indifferent, looking at the sea beast and muttering, although you are enslaved and forced by Aaron, you dare to call so in front of me, are you impatient? Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. As he said, raised his leg, kicked the sea beast Muumuu's head, and directly blasted the sea beast Muumuu out, all the cadres of the Dragon Pirate group were shocked and their jaws dropped. Just kidding. Mu Mu was defeated in such a simple way. It seems that the enemy this time is very powerful. Huh, so what? Is it better than Aaron Boss? Comma 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 comma. Advertisement. Mu Feng, you actually defeated the sea beast Mu Mu. Nami looked at the direction Mu Mu flew away with a look of dementia. She had never thought that Mu Feng would be so strong. I told you, I'm amazing. Mu Feng said with a smile. Who are you? Human. Aaron stared at Mu Feng and asked in a deep voice. Although arrogant, Aaron is not an idiot. The guy in front of him actually knew about the Grand Line, so his identity would definitely not be that simple, and Aaron was a little worried. Hee hee. You seem to be scared by your appearance. Tisk. The noble Murloc Aaron is actually scared because of a low-level human. If you say it, you will laugh out loud. Mu Fengman looking at Aaron with a sad face, he said with a smile. Find flowers. Hearing Mu Feng's ridiculous words, Aaron instantly lost his mind. Damn human. I must kill you. Cut you into 8 pieces. Picking up the serrated knife beside him, Aaron slashed at Mu Feng. However, Aaron's serrated knife was directly clamped by Mu Feng with 2 fingers. You want to kill me with such a soft attack? Are you sure it's not teasing me? Oh, it seems like your weapon is broken. What should I do? Do you need me to lend you a knife? While talking, Mu Feng's wrist forcefully broke Aaron's serrated knife. How? How is it possible? Boss Aaron's serrated knife was actually broken. Advertisement. Obviously a human being, how could it be so strong? Huh, even if I broke Boss Aaron's sawtooth broadsword, what can I do? You must know that Aaron's most powerful weapon is not the sawtooth broadsword. Yes, Boss Aaron will definitely be able to kill this low-level human. Comma 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 comma. The strength of Aaron is engraved in the mind of every member of the evil dragon pirate group. Therefore, even if Aaron is at a disadvantage at this moment, no one thinks that Aaron will lose. And Aaron, at this moment, my heart is not so peaceful. Damn, actually broke my sawtooth knife with 2 fingers. This kind of strength is definitely not weaker than himself. Is he also coming back from the Grand Line? Instead of rushing to launch the attack, Aaron said in a deep voice, my friend, did you also retreat from the Grand Line? Instead of the 2 of us fighting and losing each other. It is better to rule the East China Sea together. As for Nami's freedom, I can how about giving it back to her? Very good proposal. Mu Feng raised an eyebrow and said. Along breathed a sigh of relief when he heard what Mu Feng said. At the same time, the cold light flashed in his eyes. Secretly, when there is a chance in the future, I will definitely find a chance to kill you. However, at this moment, Mu Feng suddenly changed his conversation and looked at Aaron. He smiled and said, but, I'm sorry, first I'm a Marine. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertisement. Chapter 194. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Marine. It was Marine. Aaron's pupils shrank suddenly, and then slowly recovered. Marine. It seems that there is no way to be kind now. But with such strength, let alone a major general. Killing a major general, it seems that there is no way to continue staying in the East China Sea in the future, and can only return to the Fishman Island, Aaron secretly said in his heart. As the main cadre of the Pirates of the Sun, Aaron's strength is definitely not at the level of 2,000 Baileys. If it is placed on the Grand Line, it is very possible to offer a reward of hundreds of millions of Baileys. Naturally, he had the confidence to kill a Marine Major General. Besides, it's just your kind of rubbish. You want to fight with me and lose. Are you sure? Isn't you funny? Mu Feng sounded disdainfully. Marine, you're looking for death. I'm going to kill you. Along panted. 0 and 50. Rough, his eyes seemed to be blazing. Mu Feng provoked him again and again. With Aaron's brutal character, how could he continue to tolerate it, and now he has no scruples. Bite giant gear cart. As a serrated shark man, Aaron's strongest is his teeth. Broken steel and gravel is definitely a breeze, and its hardness is comparable to that of sea floor stone. With one shot of his powerful feet, Aaron blasted towards Mu Feng like a cannonball. The blood basin opened, and his sharp teeth flashed with cold light. Taking Mu Feng's neck straight, apparently when he came up, Aaron didn't keep any hands, and wanted to kill Mu Feng directly. Boss Aaron. It's Boss Aaron's jagged steel teeth. It's a win. Yeah, I must win. It's just that I didn't expect this guy to be a Marine. But Marine is even more hateful and damned. Yes. Damn Marine, you deserve to die. As this Marine frightened stupid. Why doesn't he move? Advertisement. Ha ha ha. I must have been scared by Boss Aaron. Comma 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 comma. In the middle of the battlefield, watching Aaron who was attacking him. With a faint smile on Mu Feng's face, he didn't mean to dodge at all, as if he hadn't seen Aaron's attack at all. Mu Feng, what are you doing? Hurry up and avoid it. Nami yelled. But Mu Feng still looks indifferent. Seeing that Aaron's steel teeth were about to bite Mu Feng's neck, Nami closed his eyes in despair. At the same time, I regretted that I shouldn't have brought Mu Feng to a long park, so that Mu Feng would not die. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. At the same time, 2 lines of clear tears flowed from Nami's cheeks. And when he saw that he was about to bite the neck of the Marine in front of him, Aaron is even more excited. Damn Marine. Damn humans. Dare to enslave our noble Murlocs, I want to kill all of you. However, in the next moment, Aaron expected himself to crush the neck of the Marine in front of him, and the scene of blood splattering did not happen. Aaron felt as if he was biting on the Halu rock. No, it was something harder than the Halu rock. Because even Halu stone, with its steel teeth, can leave 2 rows of teeth marks on it, but now. Not only did his teeth not penetrate at all, they were even snapped off. Advertisement. What's the situation? Is he a capable person of devil fruit? Along glanced down. His pupils suddenly shrank into needlepoints. The place where he was bitten was pitch black. This is armament hockey. Damn, how could such a strong person appear in the weakest East China Sea? Moreover, he is also named Marine, definitely not a major general, he must be a strong lieutenant general. Escape. 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 This is no longer a strong one that he can deal with. Aaron is very self-aware, just like he chose to go to the weakest East China Sea, because he knows that there will be no stronger existence than himself in the East China Sea. And now facing a strong man who can skillfully use armament hockey, Aaron certainly knows that he is definitely not an opponent, so he wants to escape. Moreover, Aaron didn't think he would have no way to escape. Because 5 meters away is the sea. As long as he jumps into the sea and immediately dives into the seabed several thousand meters deep, even Marine Admiral can't catch himself. This is why Elan dares to be unscrupulous in the East China Sea. He is not afraid of Marine. However, although the ideal is full, the reality is very skinny. Aaron did not have time to escape, so Mu Feng directly strangled his throat. On the side, Nami is suffering from self-blame and despair. Suddenly heard a voice. Oh yeah, it looks like your mouth is not so good. It's Mu Feng's voice. Isn't Mu Feng still dead? Nami opened his eyes hurriedly. But I saw a scene that made me stunned. Advertisement. Aaron. That Aaron who was invincible in his own view. At this moment, someone strangled his throat, his face flushed, and the one who strangled Along's throat was Mu Feng. Huh. Nami covered his mouth with an unbelievable appearance. Let me go. My elder brother is Jinbei in 7 Warlords of the Sea. If you kill me, Jinbei will kill you. Along said with a pained expression. 7 Warlords of the Sea, although the plot seems very rubbish, Luffy was all involved. In fact, it is not that weak. As Marine's organization to balance the sea pirates, it is known as one of the 3 major forces of the sea, but it is actually quite compelling. At the very least, the General Lieutenant dare not provoke. But Aaron wanted to use this to threaten Mu Feng. Mu Feng just wanted to laugh after hearing it. 7 Warlords of the Sea is his own power, threatening me with my power. Aaron, are you sure not to be funny? 1.3. Just relying on Aaron to amuse himself. When Mu Feng is in a good mood, maybe he can spare his life. But now, who made you cry, Nami? Jinbei. Haha. Even if the blue Murloc from Jinbei stands here watching me kill you. I dare not say half a, no. By the way, I forgot to tell you just now. My name is Mu Feng, which is Marine the White Bear of Admiral. As he said, Mu Feng directly crushed Aaron's neck. Along's face was full of astonishment. Even if he was already dead, he couldn't believe that he actually provoked a big man like the White Bear. The 2 of them couldn't get through the margins. After killing Aaron, Mu Feng turned to look at Nami. He smiled and said, Nami, your nightmare has been ended by me, how do you want to thank me? Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertisement. Chapter 195. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Aaron. Aaron, is he dead? Nami's eyes were blank, and he couldn't believe what was happening before him. Since Nami was 10 years old, these two words have become his nightmare, torturing her all the time. And now, this nightmare was suddenly completely shattered. She couldn't believe it. Yes, it's dead. Well, is that his corpse, thrown into the sea? Or sun-dried salted fish? Nami, you decide. Mu Feng laughed. As soon as he finished speaking, before Mu Feng had time to react, Nami rushed over. He hugged Mu Feng directly with tears of relief on his face. Ooh, thank you, Mu Feng, thank you. Nami kept crying, even a little incoherent. Mu Feng's arms are in the air, and I don't know where to put them. Seeing that Nami didn't stop crying, he stroked her back and comforted. Don't cry, you won't be pretty if you cry again. Didn't you promise me that you won't cry again? What's the matter? Mu Feng coaxed Nami, just like coaxing a child. Humph. You said it yourself, I didn't promise you. Nami snorted very proudly and said, but still stopped crying. Advertisement. Raising his small face, he looked at Mu Feng like a pear flower with rain, which really didn't make people feel distressed. Looking at Nami's innocent and lovely face, Mu Feng only felt that his heart was severely scratched, swallowed, and when he looked at Nami's gaze, he was no longer innocent. How could Nami not feel Mu Feng's aggressive gaze? His face flushed slightly, and he lowered his head, obviously he was a little shy. Seeing what Nami looks like at the moment, and still hasn't escaped from his arms. If Mu Feng doesn't know what to do now, then he won't be a loser if he is alone. Nami, I like you. Looking down at Nami, Mu Feng said lightly. Yeah, Nami trembled, and responded in a low voice. Then be my girlfriend, okay? Mu Feng then asked. Yeah, Nami's voice was lower this time. However, with Mu Feng's hearing, he can still hear clearly, and I can't help but be overjoyed. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Lowering his head, his face gradually moved closer to Nami in his arms. And Nami, as if he also felt something. Lifting his head, closing his eyes, his face also slowly approached Mu Feng, his breath became tighter. And just as Mu Feng thought that in the next moment, he would, suddenly someone kicked the big iron gate of Aaron Park open, and then an angry roar sounded. That guy named Aaron, get out of me. Advertisement. It's Luffy, and there are three guys, Zoro, Sanji, and Usopp behind him. After recruiting Sanji into the Straw Hat Pirates from the restaurant on the sea, the group of four hurried to Kokoyashi village, but Luffy and the others rowed a small sampan boat, which was naturally slower than going merry, so it was quite late. It took a long time to rush over. Randomly asked two villagers to find out about the situation. Not all of them were figured out at all. The four Luffy rushed to Aaron Park angrily. Through Luffy's voice, all the atmosphere was destroyed. Hee hee. Nami opened his eyes, naughty tongue out to Mu Feng, and then broke free from Mu Feng's embrace, but still blushed slightly. Mu Feng is helpless. There are four big light bulbs. It is impossible to create the atmosphere just now. Luffy, this idiot. Luffy, you kid, get me here. Looking at Luffy, Mu Feng's black line full of head, roared loudly. Now Mu Feng is very angry. Ah, Mu Feng, why are you here? By the way, did you see a guy named Along who bullied my navigator? I'm going to fly him severely. Luffy's eyes lit up and asked hurriedly. Huh, Nami, you are here, I said why I didn't find you in Kokoyashi village. Luffy only noticed Nami standing next to Mu Feng. Along, I've been slaughtered by me. Next, let's count other things, who told you to come over so quickly? You won't be 2 minutes late. Also, the gate is clearly used come knock, why do you use kicks? Mu Feng at this meeting is definitely resentful. One by one, his fists fell on Luffy's head, and Luffy's head was full of bags. What? Aaron was solved by Mu Feng by you. Damn, he actually robbed my enemy. Ah, it hurts. Mu Feng, I am obviously a rubber man. Why can both you and Grandpa hurt me? Obviously. When beating Luffy, Mu Feng used armament hockey. It doesn't need to be done, a normal fist hitting Luffy doesn't hurt him at all. Advertisement. Huh. This is the iron fist of love, of course it can hurt you. Liar. That is obviously Grandpa's move. I learned from Grandpa 413, can't you? Also, since Grandpa's is called the iron fist of love, then my trick is called the iron fist of love from my brother. Any comments? Yes. Oh. It hurts. No. No comments. Rao was Luffy, and under Mu Feng's iron fist, he had to give in. Ms. Nami, I'm glad to see you again. Seeing Nami, Sanji's eyes suddenly lit up, and he turned into a flower and wanted to dedicate it to Nami. Lucky chef. Don't hit my Nami's idea. Before Sanji finished speaking, Mu Feng pulled him directly by the collar, and then he was beaten violently. He directly beat Sanji as the pig head on his first wanted order. Huh. After beating Luffy and Sanji violently, Mu Feng suddenly felt refreshed. The resentment just now finally dissipated a bit. Suddenly, Mu Feng noticed an intent to fight. He raised his brows and saw that it was Zoro who was looking at himself with a warrior expression on his face. He smiled and said, "What? A battle with Hawkeye? Haven't learned a lesson. Before me, Hawkeye doesn't even have the courage to draw a knife. If I fight against me, I'm afraid I will defeat you. The heart of Kendo, if you are sure, I have no objection." Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertisement. Chapter 196. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Zoro hesitated, but did not draw out a word of peace. There is no other knife, because after the battle with Hawkeye, Zoro only has a word of peace. The reason why he didn't challenge Mu Feng is not that Zoro was scared. It was that he swore that before becoming the world's largest swordsman, he would never lose again. And now, I can't even beat Hawkeye, let alone Mu Feng who is stronger than Hawkeye. Zoro saw with his own eyes that Mu Feng just slashed out and cut off the sea. In the face of Mu Feng, there was not even any competition, and Hawkeye directly surrendered. If you challenge him yourself, you will definitely lose. Even worse, there is no other possibility. The title of the world's #1 swordsman, I am going to make it. After defeating Hawkeye, I will challenge you again. I will definitely defeat you. Staring at Mu Feng, Zoro said loudly. Oh, if you can defeat Hawkeye, I am willing to agree to your challenge. Mu Feng said lightly. The current Hawkeye is already a swordsman of the Supreme Swordsman level. If Zoro can defeat the Hawkeye, then he is bound to be a swordsman of the Supreme Swordsman level. For Mu Feng, that is greedy proficiency, and he will definitely not refuse. On the side of Usopp, there was no movement at all. No, it should be said that there has been movement all the time. His legs were trembling all the time, and his mouth couldn't help chanting, "Big Admiral, hi, Marine Admiral, will he take me to prison? It's over. It's over. I know it. My great Captain Usopp shouldn't have gone to sea so early." In the sea restaurant, Usopp knew the identity of Mu Feng. At that time, I was almost scared to death. This would see Mu Feng. How could he not be afraid? However, Mu Feng obviously ignored him completely. Looking at Nami, he smiled and said, "Let's go. I guess your sister can't wait any longer." Advertisement. Yes. Brother Mu Feng. Nami said with a sweet smile. Then he slung Mu Feng's arm and walked towards Koko Yaxi village with a happy face. Only Luffy, who looked like an afterthought, and Sanji, who was crying and crying, were left behind, probably because Mu Feng and Nami gave dog food to them. Comma 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 comma. Ah, huh, my wallet is gone. Mine is gone. Mine too, there is mine. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. On the day of Going Mary's departure, Nami passed through the crowd, jumped directly onto the melee, and then shook off dozens of wallets on the deck. In his own special way, he came to have a special farewell with the villagers of Kokoyashi village. Goal Grand Line, the Straw Hat Pirates began their own voyage. Mu Feng, you didn't go. Great. Did you decide not to be Marine? Come and be the deputy captain for me. Going Mary, looking at Mu Feng lying on the sun chair with Nami, Luffy said excitedly. Deputy captain, the deputy captain is obviously me. Luffy, you actually gave it to someone. Usopp whispered and underestimated deeply, not daring to let anyone hear it. Advertisement. Usopp, what are you talking about? Zoro on the side asked casually. No, I'm not talking. Usopp quickly denied. Mu Feng smiled. With Mu Feng's ear power, he naturally heard Usopp's whispered words. But he didn't care. Directly refused Luffy and said, First a Marine Admiral, how can I mess with a little pirate like you? If you can really become the One Piece, I can still consider taking part in it. Don't talk about it now. Oh, well, then wait until I become One Piece before I invite you to Mu Feng. Hearing Mu Feng's words, Luffy was a little disappointed, but he soon arranged his mood and said loudly. Then you come on. Mu Feng waved his hand and said indifferently. Big brother Mu Feng, is Marine Admiral's work so leisurely? Seems like you have nothing to do. Nami, who was next to Mu Feng, suddenly looked at Mu Feng and asked curiously. As there, I'm very busy. It's just that Naval Headquarters is on the Grand Line. Isn't your boat going on the way? I'll just take a ride. Mu Feng Yijung said in awe. If Marshal Sengoku heard this, he would definitely have the heart to kill Mu Feng. Busy. Busy making trouble everywhere, then let you wipe my ass. Quote. That long-nosed guy, please go to the kitchen to have a look. Why didn't I let the half-cooked steak cooked by that color chef have not been good? And that green algae head, your flaws are full of flaws. Don't practice the swordsmanship in front of me. With these skills, I can't help but feel the breath of all things, even the steel is constantly cutting, what a swordsman. Mu Feng said that Zoro ruthlessly said, but it can also be regarded as a kind of guidance. Oh, I'll go see it now. Usopp nodded hurriedly. He didn't dare to complain about the guy whom Mu Feng called him a long nose, although he was very upset in his heart. Advertisement. The breath of all things. Hearing Mu Feng's words, Zoro's eyes suddenly lit up. In fact, Zoro has already accumulated enough swordsmanship. Just a little bit, he could step into the threshold of a swordsman and reach the realm of a swordsman. But just because of this, I don't know how many swordsmen have been stuck. Wang Zhao. The difference between Zhanao before and after Zhanao is like the pirates of the Four Seas, and the difference between the pirates in the Grand Line and the pirates in the Grand Line is definitely a huge difference. After thinking for a while, Zoro bowed deeply to Mu Feng. Then he held the knife, walked to the side and sat up crossly, closed his eyes, and participated in the sword meditation. In this way, enduring Mu Feng's poisonous tongue, the Straw Hat Pirates came to Logue Town. Wow, what a big town. Did the Great Pirate Age begin here? Good. I'm going to see One Piece's execution platform. Luffy said with his arms folded. At this moment, Mu Feng suddenly focused his eyes. Because he saw a corner of the street, a young man in a black dress passed through and disappeared into an alley. If I didn't admit my mistake, it should be him. Mu Feng murmured. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertisement. Chapter 197. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Sabo. Unexpectedly, the Revolutionary Army would actually appear here. It seems that the dragon rescued Luffy in the original plot may just be accidental. Saving his son at hand. Really irresponsible. But Luffy's lucky value is also exploding. Mu Feng whispered. Then he looked at Nami on the side and said, Nami, you go shopping by yourself. I have something to do. I'm done with it. I'll find you later. Well, big brother Mu Feng. Nami nodded in response very well. After crossing the alley, Sabo was still very cautious. Entering a gap in a dark and empty building, there is a door at the end of the gap. Sabo looked around, then pushed the door in. The items in the house look a bit old, it seems to be an underground bar. Sabo, are you coming back? How are things going? Seeing that it was Sabo, a crisp voice suddenly sounded in the house, which seemed to be relieved. Kurla, like the Empress, was once a slave of celestial dragons. After being rescued by Fisher Tiger, he joined the Revolutionary Army. Become Sabo's right and left hand, with very strong working ability, able to complete various tasks before Sabo gives orders, so that Sabo has no orders to give. Advertisement. 770 inches. The layout of Logue Town has been completed. As long as Mr. Long returns, we can return to Barty. Sabo took off his white gloves and said with a smile. Baldy. Is Baldy on the island of white soil? It was there, No wonder the world government has not been able to find the Revolutionary Army's nest. Suddenly, a light voice came in. The ears of Sabo and Kurla. I heard a sudden sound. In an instant, the hairs on Sabo and Kurla stood up. Who can actually appear lifelessly beside him? I couldn't help turning around suddenly, looking for a sound. I saw someone sitting on a dim bar at the side. I don't know when I was sitting on a person. I was shaking with a glass of red wine in my hand. When seeing this person's face, Sabo and Kurla's pupils shrank suddenly. As the number 2 figure of the Revolutionary Army and a cadre of the Revolutionary Army, he naturally recognized Mu Feng's identity at first sight, Admiral of Headquarters, and the world's strongest Mu Feng, the White Bear. Countless thoughts flickered through the brain. Rao is Saw, BBBJ, Bo and Kurla are both very clever and astute people, and they don't know what to do at this moment. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. In the face of absolute power, any resourceful strategy is just a joke. This gentleman, it's daytime and the bar hasn't opened yet. If the gentleman wants to drink, he can only wait till night. Kurla pretended not to know Mu Feng and said, "What do you Revolutionary Army want to do in Logue Town?" Mu Feng asked bluntly. Revolutionary Army. This gentleman, what are you talking about? Kurla said with a silly expression, I don't know what you are talking about. Advertisement. Seeing Kurla's expression like this, Mu Feng had a headache. Don't know. So, I don't like to talk to smart people because they are not honest. Or do you think I can't kill the flowers? Looking at Kurla, Mu Feng said helplessly. Dragon hook and claw. Sabo on the side suddenly violent. With his right hand clenched into a claw, Sabo suddenly attacked Mu Feng and shouted, Kurla, I'll stop him. You run away, remember to inform the leader and give up the stronghold in Logue Town. Also, Barty it's not safe anymore. Transfer our base. Do you think you can stop me? Mu Feng's face was full of helplessness. Reaching out for a grip, Mu Feng grabbed Sabo's wrist. No matter how hard Sabo tried, he couldn't get rid of it, and he couldn't help being shocked. To become the second in command of the Revolutionary Army, Sabo's strength will naturally not be bad. Even in the hands of the dragon, he can hold on for a moment or 3, but the strength of the dragon is not inferior to the 4 emperors at all. Although Mu Feng is the strongest in the world. But Sabo believes that it is still possible to give Kurla time to escape with his own strength. But I didn't expect. I was captured just as soon as I took the shot. Haha. Dare to shoot at me. If it weren't for you, Luffy and Ace to be brothers, I would kill you directly. Mu Feng raised his eyebrows and threw Sabo aside. Luffy. Ace. Advertisement. Hearing these 2 names, Sabo, who was thrown aside by Mu Feng, frowned, with a confused look in his eyes. These 2 names seemed to be very important to him. And Mu Feng completely ignored Sabo. Kurla, who looked to the side, smiled and said, Run, don't worry. If you run away, I won't stop you. But, Sabo's life can be saved, but maybe. Quote. Looking at Sabo who suddenly became sluggish, Kurla hesitated and did not choose to escape. Instead, he looked at Mu Feng, gritted his teeth and said, Mr. Bai Shang, since you are admiral, you must be aware of the filth and darkness of the world government and celestial dragons. Cover up that blank 100-year history, wantonly enslaving slaves, the people who collected the gold from the sky became poorer and poorer. Admiral, don't you think these are all sins? What does this little girl want to do? Is it possible that you want to rebel against me and become a revolutionary army? Ha ha. Yes, I know these are all sins. Mu Feng nodded and admitted as expected. Seeing Mu Feng admit that these are sins, the look on Kurla's face was happy, and he wanted to say something more. However, Mu Feng took the lead and said, But what does this have to do with me? Celestial dragons is the culprit, not me. As for the blank 100-year history. History is nothing but shit. The victor should have the power to write history, let alone cover up a period of history, what can it be counted? You don't want to instigate me to join the Revolutionary Army. Sorry, I am not interested at the moment. If one day you can overthrow the world government, maybe I will reconsider this proposal. Quote. Hearing Mu Feng's words, Kara's face turned pale, and his expression became sad and angry. Admiral the White Bear, who are Luffy and Ace. I feel that these 2 names are very important to me. At this moment, Sabo on the side suddenly said. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at Hot MTL Novel for free. Advertisement. Chapter 198. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Of course it's important. They are the most important brothers before you lose your memory. Looking at Sabo, Mu Feng said with a chuckle. Tell me who the two of them are. Sabo hesitated, then asked. Although the position is relative, he should not talk too much with Mu Feng, but he can't hold it back. Because the subconscious is telling Sabo that these two people are very important to themselves. It is even more important than your own life. Why? Why should I tell you? It looks like you wanted to shoot at me just now. First I'm Marine, and you are a revolutionary army. I would not be so friendly to the enemy. Looking at Sabo, Mu Feng smiled. Said. I. Sabo anxiously looked like an ant on a hot pot. Hee. Mu Feng smiled suddenly. Then he continued. Goya Kingdom, Windmill Village, Trash Mountain. Did you remember something? If you still can't remember, I don't have time to explain it to you. When he heard these three place names, Sabo's eyes suddenly widened. In the original plot, the reason Sabo recovered his memory was that after learning of Ace's death, he was emotionally stimulated and then recovered. It can be seen that Sabo's memory has not really disappeared. Advertisement. As for Sabo, the garbage mountain behind the Windmill Village is definitely the most memorable place. If after Mu Feng's reminder, Sabo still can't restore his memory, then Mu Feng has nothing to do. After all, although Mu Feng is very strong, he is not omnipotent. However, looking at what Sabo looks like now, 0.80% can restore his memory. Ace. Luffy. Suddenly, Sabo hugged his head and lay down on the ground, his head bursting in pain, and big drops of sweat came from his forehead. Sabo. What happened to Sabo? What did you do to Sabo? Seeing what Sabo looked like, Kurla stood by and panicked instantly. Busily guarding Sabo behind her, and then looking at Mu Feng with a vigilant face. I have been sitting here without moving, okay. What can I do? Although you are a revolutionary army, you can't frame a good person. Mu Feng shrugged, looking like I was innocent. Said. There is also a posture of being a disadvantaged group in speech. I'm okay, Kurla. It's just that I just recalled my previous memories, and suddenly I felt a little uncomfortable. At this moment, Sabo said suddenly. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Look, let me just talk about it, it has nothing to do with me. Mu Feng quickly clarified the relationship. Sabo, are you recovering your memory? Great. Seeing Sabo stand up, Kurla couldn't help but said with joy, even Mu Feng on the side was directly ignored. Having partnered with Sabo for so long, Kurla certainly knew that Sabo had lost his memories of 10 years ago. I also know that Sabo really wants to retrieve this memory. Now that Sabo can restore his memory, I am naturally very happy for Sabo. Advertisement. A reminiscence flashed in Sabo's eyes. He looked at Mu Feng and asked in a complicated manner. Ace still has Luffy, how are the two of them? Haha. What do you think? Mu Feng shrugged and asked back. Sabo was taken aback, then his pupils shrank suddenly. Can't help but think of the identity of Mu Feng. Marine Admiral. However, Luffy and Ace have already determined their goals to become one piece. The three had agreed to go to sea at the age of 17. Calculating the time, Ace should have gone to sea 3 years ago, and Luffy probably has already gone to sea. In other words, they have now become pirates. Since Mu Feng knows Luffy and Ace so well, he has already met Luffy or Ace. Marine Admiral meets Shanghai Thief, is it possible to live in harmony? In an instant, Sabo made up for the scene where Mu Feng defeated or killed Luffy and Ace. What did you do with them? Sabo yelled with red eyes. Then, without waiting for Mu Feng's answer, he picked up the steel pipe on the side. Armament hockey attached to it and slammed it towards Mu Feng. Sabo was angry and didn't leave any hands. Find flowers 0. Don't use your brain. I really don't know how you became the chief of staff of the Revolutionary Army. This character. Was infected by that idiot Luffy. Mu Feng said helplessly, raising his hand to hold the attack. Steel pipe. Mu Feng tried a little bit and broke the thing directly. Even if it is wrapped in armament hockey by Sabo, in the eyes of Mu Feng, it is no harder than a toothpick. Stop. The two of them are alive and well. Mu Feng's tone was a little impatient. If Sabo didn't know what was good or bad, he would never keep his hands. Hearing the news that Luffy and Ace were still alive, Sabo finally regained his senses. Advertisement. Then, what's going on with the two of them? But he was worried about them, and asked Mu Feng anxiously. Dot 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 dot. What's my name? Mu Feng replied unexpectedly. White Bear. No, Mu Feng. Sabo thought for a while and said. Full name. Mu Feng flipped through Byakugan. I haven't realized it yet. Is this IQ really the chief of staff of the Revolutionary Army? Then there is no hope for the Revolutionary Army. Sabo was taken aback, his eyes widened suddenly. He asked in astonishment. You. What is your relationship with Luffy? Bai Shang Mu Feng's full name is Monkey D. Mu Feng. And Luffy is called Monkey D. Luffy. Saying that there is no relationship between the two and killing Sabo does not believe it. Luffy is my younger brother, and Ace is also my younger brother. Luffy is in Logue Town, and Ace is the captain of the 2nd Division in the Whitebeard Pirates. Haha. If it's not your relationship with Luffy and Ace, change it. Others dare to do it in front of me time and time again. Do you think he can stand here and talk well? Mu Feng Byakugan said. Luffy is also in Logue Town. Sabo's eyes suddenly widened, his face full of surprise. Do I need to lie to you? Mu Feng shrugged. Suddenly the eyes lit up. As if thinking of something, he said meaningfully, do you know what the full name of the dragon is? Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertisement. Chapter 199. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Before Sabo could ask, Mu Feng said to himself, Monkey D. Dragon, this is the full name of your revolutionary leader dragon. He is Luffy's father, and at the same time the marine hero Garp's son. Looks like I still want to call uncle. What? At this moment, both Sabo and Kurla were stunned. There were incredible expressions in his eyes. How could it be possible? Marine heroes, Marine Admiral, the most murderous criminals in the world, and pirates, are they a family? Are you kidding me? Even if this was said from the mouth of the White Bear. However, it was still difficult to accept Sabo and Kurla for a while. Well, it seems that the guy Long is doing a good job of confidentiality. Even his subordinates don't know his own life experience. Is it because he is afraid that publicizing the 83 will have a bad effect on the old man? It's kind of conscience. Mu Feng laughed. This, isn't it possible? The leader is actually Luffy's father. The expression on Sabo's face can only be described as dumb. Mu Feng boy, you teach our revolutionary cadres this way, I am afraid that something is wrong. The low and hoarse voice suddenly sounded, full of oppression. A guy wearing a dark green cloak appeared in front of Mu Feng. It was Mu Feng's cheap uncle, Monkey D. Dragon. The leader. Sabo and Kerr both said in unison. Yeah, Long nodded without saying much. At this moment, there is Mu Feng, and it is impossible to distinguish between friends and enemies. Naturally, Long does not dare to relax. Boy, haha. The old man can call me that, because he saved my life. What qualifications do you have to call me that? Don't say that because you are the old man's son, you are older than me by a generation, I'm not interested in calling you uncle. Mu Feng said lightly. Advertisement. At the same time, Conqueror's Hockey, at the LVMAX 13 level, does not have any reservations to oppress Shanglong. Suddenly, Long's face changed suddenly. Without hesitation, he also released his Conqueror's Hockey. Two Conqueror's Hockey have collided together. Just like a heavyweight boxer, Conqueror's Hockey of the Dragon is completely disintegrated when confronted with a child who is just learning to speak. Of course, this is not to say that the Dragon's Conqueror's Hockey is too weak. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. As the leader of the Revolutionary Army, Long not only ate a devil fruit that can control the weather. Hockey is also not weak. If hierarchical, Dragon's Conqueror's Hockey has the LVMAX 12 level. But, who made him touch the abnormal Mu Feng? No matter what kind of ability, or hockey, the higher the level, the harder it is to break the boundaries. For example, Mu Feng, who has the existence of collapsed jade, tears two super experience scrolls from time to time, but in 3 years, Conqueror's Hockey can only be promoted from LVMAX 12 to LVMAX 13. The harder the boundary is to break, the stronger it will be after breaking. Conqueror's Haki of LVMAX-13 is more than 10 times more powerful than LVMAX-12. It's like a battle at the Sea Restaurant Bharati. Advertisement. The level of eagle-eye swordsmanship in the realm of the supreme swordsman should be LVMAX-12. But after Mu Feng of LVMAX-13 swordsmanship cut a sword, he couldn't even think of fighting Mu Feng again. This is the gap. At this moment, Conqueror's Haki between Mu Feng and Dragon is like that. The gap is completely an insurmountable gap. The dragon's face turned pale, and it took a few steps to stop his body. Sabo and Kurla on the side are even more unbearable. Sabo is a little better, not weak, and he who also possesses the appearance of Conqueror's Haki can barely maintain a sober consciousness. But Kurla was stunned in the first place. The surrounding tables, chairs, benches, and bar wine utensils were directly shocked into powder. Bai Shang, what do you want? Staring at Mu Feng, Long was silent for a long time before speaking. I never wanted to get closer to Mu Feng. Just now Long did indeed have the idea of relying on the relationship between Garp and Luffy to close the relationship with Mu Feng. After all, Mu Feng 6 years later, even if he did not fight Whitebeard again, he still can only share the world's strongest name. But anyone with a little brain knows. Nowadays, the real world's strongest is Mu Feng, which is the exclusive title of Mu Feng. Because Whitebeard is over 70, his strength has begun to decline drastically. And Mu Feng, who is just over 20 years old, is in a golden age of strength. Advertisement. If Mu Feng and Whitebeard were fighting now, no one would think that Whitebeard would win. If the White Bear can be pulled onto the warship of the Revolutionary Army, it is no exaggeration to say that Long's confidence in successfully overthrowing the world government will definitely increase by 50%. After all, the world of One Piece is a world where individual force can determine everything. But obviously the dragon's abacus hadn't started yet, so he was directly smashed by Mu Feng. What do I want? Haha. I'm wondering if I should be taken to the great undersea prison. But if you do, the old man will definitely be sad. Although you are a jerk, you are the old man's son. I don't have any good feelings for those 5 old guys. It's also good to leave you to add chaos to them. Mu Feng said in distress. When he heard what Mu Feng said, Long's eyes suddenly lit up. 5 old guys. You don't need to ask, the dragon can guess who it is, 5 elders. With 0.1 Mu Feng's current strength status, the only person who can be called an old guy by him is 5 elders. It seems that the relationship between Bai Shang and the world government is not as good as it seems on the surface, so that he has the opportunity to make a fuss from it. Long secretly said in his heart. Mu Feng next to him, looking at the twinkling dragon. Without much thinking, he could guess that he must be planning something related to him again, and he couldn't help but feel more upset. I decided to beat you up for the old man first before speaking. Mu Feng said suddenly. Then, before the dragon had time to react, he punched it. Covered by armament Haki, the ultimate observation Haki predicts the dragon's next move. No matter how the dragon dodges, it can't dodge the fist predicted by Mu Feng. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertisement. Chapter 200. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. It is true that the dragon is a powerhouse at the 4 emperors level, but Mu Feng is a powerhouse at the 4 emperors level. In addition, he was mentally arithmetic and unintentional, so it was just a few punches, and Mu Feng's fist was completely greeted on the face of the dragon, regardless of whether he hit someone or not. The dragon became black and swollen, completely pig-headed. Looking at Mu Feng, the dragon's eyes were full of aggrieved eyes. But Mu Feng has stopped, and Long can't take the initiative to fight back, not to mention that it is a problem whether to fight back or not. In case Mu Feng gets angry, he will be unlucky together with the Revolutionary Army. Well, after beating you, I feel much better. Goodbye. Don't let me run into your Revolutionary Army next time, or I won't keep my hands like this time. Waved his hand, Mu Feng wanted to leave. Wait a minute. Long suddenly stopped Mu Feng. Well, is there anything else? Mu Feng looked at the dragon and asked. Long was silent for a long while, looking at Mu Feng with complicated eyes, puzzled and jealous. Asked. Your intention, or what is your final position? The dragon is uneasy, doubtful, jealous. Mu Feng is too strong, 11 and his behavior is very casual, even unscrupulous, not so much marine, as the pirate in marine. If Mu Feng had no plot, Long would never believe it. Advertisement. Long was very worried whether Mu Feng's intentions would pose any threat to the Revolutionary Army. Intention. Standpoint. Hee. What do these things do to me? Mu Feng smiled faintly, and the laughter was full of wanton and unruly. Looking at the dragon, Mu Feng said flatly, from the very beginning, there was no one in the sky. Not even a god. However, this unbearable window period of the throne of heaven is about to end. Next, I will stand at the top. After speaking, he glanced at the dragon indifferently, and Mu Feng turned around and left. And the dragon standing in the same place was already stunned and could no longer be stunned. He never thought that Mu Feng's intention was to become a god. It's idiotic about dreams. Bai Shang, it's a lunatic. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. If you let Mu Feng know what the dragon thinks at the moment, he would only smile lightly and sneer. The swan bird knows the ambition of the hungry bird. The person standing is not a tall person, and the scenery he sees is naturally different. With the existence of the system, Mu Feng's vision is no longer limited to the pirate world. Chief, what should we do if we encounter a white bear in the future? Mu Feng left. Sabo walked to the dragon's side and asked. Mu Feng just now conqueror's hockey has shaken Sabo's heart, so much so that Sabo is still in a trance. Avoid. Wait to inform the entire Revolutionary Army. If you encounter a white bear in the future, you must give up all the tasks, remember not to provoke him. The dragon said solemnly, but at the same time, this is also our opportunity. With such a character as the white bear, one day it will be against the world government. And then, it was our Revolutionary Army's opportunity to overthrow the world government. Yes, boss. Sabo nodded, and expectant light appeared in his eyes. Advertisement. In Logue Town, the Straw Hats and the group were scattered separately. Zoro only had a word of peace, so he borrowed 100,000 Pele loan from Nami, and was going to buy 2 knives in hand. As a chef, Sanji naturally went to the market. He wanted to buy some ingredients, especially the old glutton Mu Feng on board. Serving a Mu Feng is definitely more trouble than serving a boat. In particular, Mu Feng often finds faults. What makes Sanji mad the most is that the faults that Mu Feng singles out still make Sanji speechless. Although Sanji's culinary skills are indeed good, it is still a bit worse than the chef Mu Feng tied back to naval headquarters from Mary Geoy's. As for Mu Feng's request to eat, Sanji couldn't say anything to refuse. So he fell into an endless loop like this. Mu Feng was hungry, Sanji was cooking. Mu Feng picked something wrong after eating. Sanji was crazy, and Mu Feng was hungry again. Usopp decided to buy some chili, mustard, and the like, saying that he wanted to do something that would kill the stars. Nami, on the other hand, has fully played a woman's nature, shopping, heaps and piles of clothes. Mu Feng definitely escaped. As for Luffy, I have to ask. Of course, I'm going to see One Piece's execution stand. Everyone has agreed to gather in the square after the action is completed. But obviously, there is no shortage of surprises where Luffy is. The buggy group appeared, caught Luffy, and detained it on the execution stage of One Piece. Public execution now. Straw Hat Luffy death penalty. The red-nosed buggy stomped on the shackles on Luffy's neck while shouting. Advertisement. Looking at the arrogant buggy, Mu Feng was speechless. This guy is definitely the son of Luck in Pirate World, second only to Luffy, the invincible big buggy god. Lu 373 Fei. That guy, Luffy fool. Buggy's roar made everyone see Luffy. Especially Straw Hat crew, they are almost frightened. This hasn't gone to sea, the captain is about to die. I am the man who wants to be One Piece. Luffy on the execution stage suddenly yelled. The audience was silent. Suddenly Luffy's eyes lit up and he saw Sanji and Zoro who were rushing over. Hee. Sanji. Zoro, help. Luffy said with a grin. There was no trace of fear in his eyes, as if it was not him who was about to be executed. Anyway, destroy the execution platform first. I see. Sanji and Zoro had no time to think about countermeasures, so they hurriedly decided. However, the pace of the two of them was blocked by the buggy pirates, and there was no way to approach the execution stand immediately. On the execution stage, the long knife in Buggy's hand has already been swung down, and in the next moment, it will be able to cut off Luffy's idiot head. Sorry, I'm going to die. Luffy grinned and said, read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtlnovel for free. Advertisement.